I think I got the camera fixed. I'm not sure. It's not perfect because your humble host is in it, but I think it's a little crisper and cleaner. Special shout out to Trigger Smart, who's been sending me videos saying, bro, you cannot go on the air like that. You look terrible. No, he didn't quite say that. He's a little more polite because he's a classy individual. But thank you to Trigger Smart for helping me get the camera situated. It's not perfect. I still got a few more settings to tweak, but I was able to spend some time this weekend getting a few things for the show dialed in, and I think we got a pretty good show for you lined up today. Welcome in. Oh, no. We cannot have this. That's unacceptable. Ladies and gentlemen. You'll like the raw hamburger meat color, and you'll like it. That's it. You'll like it, and you'll like it. Welcome in. Sorry if I disappointed you. With the extra clarity on your humble host's mug and the choice of color. Oh, gosh, we've got a big deal. So a couple of show note disclaimers here real quick. One is almost everyone in Middle Tennessee has had power issues at some point today. We have not, which means we're due. So if I just shut down in the middle of a show, that's probably what happened. And I do apologize. I will get back to you. If it's a 5-minute gaffe, maybe I'll come back in. But if it's it's all night or goes into tomorrow, obviously we'll have to reconvene another time. Chicken liver paste. Yeah, chicken liver paste. All right. I might just burn this hoodie just in solidarity with you who hate it so much. It's called Faded Crimson. It's a fantastic hoodie. Okay, so that's number one, that the show might go kaput at any given moment. That's number one. Number two is the opening statement tonight's a little dense. You guys have asked me, several of you have asked about one of my very favorite books, Blacklisted by History. I'm drawing a little inspiration from this book, going mostly from memory. I did open the book a little bit and try to find a few little key details. But I'm going to talk about a lot of the material is going to come out of this book tonight. So that'll kind of give you an idea of where we're headed and the tie-in to modern politics and what's going on with the Charlie Kirk investigation, with the assault on certain podcast hosts and others. So that's kind of a general broad setup for you. Then we're going to dive deep. Actually, we're going to have a little fun first on the first story. Then we'll dive a little deep, and it'll be a little deep of a dive. I sense this is a very high IQ audience, a very, very high IQ audience. So we are going to just slowly get deeper and deeper and deeper on some of these issues that we've been trying to uncover relative to the Charlie Kirk investigation. So that's a broad setup of where we're headed tonight. I hope you sit back. I hope you buckle in. I hope you enjoy yourself. We're going to have a lot of fun, as we always do. I don't know what happened, but over the last few days, people have begun montaging the program. They've been putting montages together. One of them was particularly hilarious, but several of them were funny. And so I wanted to play it, but I'm a little nervous about the copyright on the music, so I'm not going to. I put it on my X feed. It was pretty funny. A couple of them were pretty funny, actually. Good evening, grumblers. I see you guys over there. You don't look angry. You don't look like you're grumbling tonight. There's a lot of happiness there. Okay, let me get into the opening statement so we can begin to uncap what it is we are talking about tonight and start our process of examining where we're headed. I don't know if you guys like the clarity. Is the clarity okay? Is it too clear? I look angry. Someone said I had angry veins in my eyes. Angry veins. I try to put a little softness on the background. You guys complain that the clarity in the background was too distracting. I'm listening to your comments. I'm reading your emails. I am taking it all in stride. Every time you guys yell or stamp your foot about something, sometimes I listen. All right, you ready? Here we go. Here is tonight's opening statement. The year was 1908. November 14 of 1908, to be precise. On that day, Joseph Raymond McCarthy was born in Grand Chute, Wisconsin. He was the son of Irish Catholic farmers, born into extremely humble circumstances. He attended a one-room schoolhouse and helped on the family farm before dropping out of high school at age 14 to go to work full-time. McCarthy returned to high school in his 20s, believe it or not. He finished his high school obligations in 1 year and enrolled at Marquette University in Milwaukee. He initially studied engineering, but switched to law, earning his degree in 1935 while supporting himself through odd jobs like coaching boxing and selling groceries. McCarthy went into politics. He won election as a circuit judge in 1939, becoming Wisconsin's youngest serving judge at age 30. He defeated a 24-year incumbent judge and campaigned primarily on the issue of clearing a backlog of cases the judge was slow walking through the system. McCarthy volunteered for the U.S. Marine Corps in the middle of World War II. This was in 1942, despite being exempt due to being a judge. He didn't have to volunteer. He did. He did it on his own. He served as an intelligence officer in the Pacific. He flew combat missions as a tail gunner, earning the nickname Tail Gunner Joe. Upon returning from the war, he returned to politics. He primaried incumbent Senator Robert La Follette Jr. in the 1946 Republican primary, leveraging anti-incumbent sentiment and his veteran status to win the general election. As a junior senator, he initially focused on practical and domestic issues like housing and sugar rationing. But he rose to national infamy on February 9th, 1950. That was the date of his infamous Wheeling speech, where he claimed to hold a list of communists in the State Department. This ignited the Second Red Scare, a period dubbed McCarthyism by critics. It was characterized by aggressive investigations into alleged communist subversion. As chairman of the Senate Permanent Subcommittee on Investigations from 1953, Joseph McCarthy targeted government officials. He targeted Hollywood figures, academics, even members of the United States Army. He accused them of disloyalty. His investigation ruined careers. It fueled national paranoia amid Cold War tensions. Critics excoriated him. The media despised him. Establishment politicians and political figures in both political parties wanted him gone. The 1954 Army McCarthy hearings, broadcast live to millions, exposed what many perceived as a bullying style, culminating in the famous moment where attorney Joseph Welch looked him in the eye and said, "Sir, have you no sense of decency?" McCarthy's reputation could not withstand the avalanche of attacks. His public support plummeted. The Senate censured him on December 2nd, 1954. The vote was overwhelming, 67-22. Having lost all support, he struggled with alcoholism. He had health issues. And finally, and maybe even mercifully, he died on May 2nd, 1957, at the tender age of 48. The official cause of death was acute hepatitis. McCarthy's very name remains in the American lexicon to this day, some 70 years or so after his death. The word McCarthyism means to unfairly target someone without evidence. In 2007, the year of the 50th anniversary of his death, author H. Stanton Evans published the book Blacklisted by History. That is this book here. I think it's M. Oh, yeah. M. Stanton Evans. Excuse me. I wrote H on my notes up there. It's M. Stanton Evans. He published the book Blacklisted by History, the untold story of Senator Joe McCarthy and his fight against America's enemies. It stands as a monumental work and absolutely destroys the common narrative of Senator Joseph McCarthy as a reckless demagogue who orchestrated a baseless witch hunt during the early Cold War. The book points out McCarthy was not the villain of popular history, but a principled crusader who accurately identified and confronted a pervasive Soviet-directed communist infiltration within the United States government. Evans, a veteran journalist and conservative commentator, spent 6 years in official archives building his case. He meticulously combed through declassified FBI files, National Archive documents, Venona decrypts, and even KGB records from the post-Soviet era. His book builds a nearly irrefutable case that the conventional portrayal of Senator Joe McCarthy is a distortion perpetuated by his political adversaries and a complicit media. The reality is that McCarthy's investigations exposed real threats that had gone ignored or actually been covered up by the Franklin Roosevelt and Harry Truman administrations. Here's the real story. In the 1930s, The Communist Party USA and Soviet agents embedded themselves in key federal agencies. A vast Soviet conspiracy infiltrated the Roosevelt and Truman administrations, influencing foreign policy to advance global communism. This network of spies, sympathizers, and fellow travelers facilitated the Soviet domination of Eastern Europe after World War II and the communist victory in China in 1949. Even, quote, settled history, end quote, like the February 1945 Yalta Conference have been taught incorrectly for decades. It turns out key advisors to President Roosevelt, like Alger Hiss, later were confirmed to be Soviet spies working at the conference against the interests of the United States and in favor of communist Soviet Union. In China, State Department officials like John Service or Owen Lattimore undermined support for Chinese nationalists, paving the way for Mao Zedong's takeover. The result was not only a communist takeover of China that resulted in the deaths of tens of millions of Chinese citizens, later deemed enemies of the state, it also resulted in billions of dollars in U.S. aid to China being sabotaged by internal betrayal, contrasting with official policies that refused to recognize Mao's regime and supported anti-communist efforts elsewhere, like Korea and Vietnam. Senator Joe McCarthy's bombastic entry into the discussion was timely. It was evidence-based. By 1950, when McCarthy delivered his Wheeling speech claiming a list of communists in the State Department, earlier investigations like those by the House Un-American Activities Committee had already uncovered spies like Alger Hiss and the Rosenbergs. McCarthy built on these by focusing on ongoing loyalty issues. He used FBI reports and congressional testimonies when naming suspects. McCarthy's list, that was supposedly nothing more than the rantings of an insane madman, that list has been vindicated by history. Many individuals on the list have since been proven to have documented ties to communist fronts. The Soviets were not aware members of the U.S. government had not only intercepted cables, diplomatic cables, to their spies in the United States, but the U.S. was actively decrypting and interpreting the cables in real time. The collection of declassified cables are known as the Venona cables, V-E-N-O-N-A, the Venona cables. The full texts of the decrypted cables were released in the 1990s. Despite being largely ignored until Stanton Evans's book on Senator Joe McCarthy, the content of the cables clearly and unequivocally confirmed Soviet espionage networks at the highest levels of the United States government. For example, McCarthy accused Treasury official Solomon Adler of spying for China. He accused State Department employee Gustavo Duran of having communist affiliations. History has vindicated McCarthy's accusations. They were not smears at all. They were grounded in proper evidence and ignored by the Truman administration and the complicit mainstream media, which cleared the suspects despite obvious red flags. In 1953, Senator McCarthy chaired the Permanent Subcommittee on Investigations, and the subcommittee conducted rigorous probes that revealed systemic failures in security screenings. The subcommittee built a solid case that the Truman administration's loyalty program that was established in 1947 was inadequate. It allowed hundreds of risks to remain employed, almost like it was on purpose. McCarthy's team included Chief Counsel Roy Cohn. If that name sounds familiar, Roy Cohn went on to be a well-known New York City lawyer after leaving government service. He famously represented private citizen Donald Trump in the early days of Donald Trump forming his real estate empire. Cohn grilled witnesses and subpoenaed records, leading to resignations and policy changes. The mainstream narrative, of course, quickly coalesced, accusing McCarthy and Cohn of trashing the reputations of innocent victims. But declassified dossiers show these were members of the Communist Party USA, and they were engaged in espionage activities. Declassified KGB files corroborate most of those claims. The Army McCarthy hearings of 1954 received sympathetic treatment, with Evans framing them as a setup. Sparked by McCarthy's probe into alleged communist infiltration at Fort Monmouth and favoritism toward Cohn's aide David Schein, the hearings devolved into televised chaos. The anti-McCarthy forces, including historians and journalists, have perpetuated myths by relying on incomplete records. It almost assuredly is intentional. For example, the list from the Wheeling speech, it supposedly had 205 names. That's misquoted. That myth stems from a 1946 letter on security risk. The real number is likely 81 or maybe even as low as 57 names McCarthy claimed he had on a list. The Venona cables themselves confirmed over 300 Soviet agents in the United States government. This both validates and vindicates McCarthy's instincts. The media played a role in blacklisting McCarthy. It's a recurring motif. Media outlets thrive on sensationalism. They thrive on bias. They ignore evidence that is inconsistent with their preferred narratives. They focus on and amplify any gaffe or mistake made by an opponent they're targeting. The lessons here are clear. The mainstream media and the political establishment are incredibly effective when they conspire to destroy a person's reputation. Senator McCarthy is one example, but there are others. The only question is what will be the tone of the conspiratorial hit job? Whether the evidence supports their position is irrelevant. It doesn't matter. It particularly doesn't matter when they hold the evidence and aren't required to give it to you. Senator Joe McCarthy was an American hero. He remains an American hero. He stood face to face with the entire strength of the establishment media and political power structure. He refused to back down. He did so because he was right. He knew he was right. Unfortunately, the evidence was classified. In other words, even though he knew of the evidence and knew it existed and knew it supported his position, he couldn't use it. He couldn't reference it. He'd go to prison or worse. But it didn't stop him from doing the right thing. It didn't stop him from fighting for this country. It didn't stop him from fighting for the truth. They called him evil. They called him crazy. They focused on his personal shortcomings and alcoholism to portray him as a weak, evil man. He never quit. The fight literally killed him, but he never backed down. I see countless parallels to Senator McCarthy today in the Charlie Kirk investigation. There are people sacrificing themselves for this investigation. They're sacrificing themselves for the truth. The mainstream media and establishment pundits are savaging them. But the attacks no longer have the same bite. They don't hit quite as hard. And the difference is the decentralized nature of news gathering and investigations in general. Senator Joe McCarthy was isolated. He was on an island. 100% of everything the average citizen read, saw, or heard about Joe McCarthy was carefully curated through the lens of the establishment media narrative. There was no social media. There was no internet. There was no other option. You either listened to what the New York Times and CBS said about Joe McCarthy, or you didn't hear anything at all. There wasn't a single outlet championing his cause. There was not one outlet supporting what he had to say. That's different today. We have YouTube, we have Spotify, we have Rumble, we have X. We have dozens and dozens of citizen journalists and content creators adding to investigations, amplifying messages, providing additional support. This is precisely why people like Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens are able to survive in the face of attacks. The reason is not people like Ian and Barron and Lionel and Coach and Wolves and Finance. The reason is you. Your rejection of the mainstream narrative, your support of alternative and independent media sources. You are what is causing the paradigm to shift away from the globalists and corporatists controlling the fate of every news story and every investigation. Because ultimately, a show like the one we're on tonight is not about the host. It's about all of us working together. And that is your opening statement. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. That was a fun one to put together. That was nice. I enjoyed that one. All right. We've got a lot to talk about, though. I do not have time to chit-chat tonight. We have got to get going. We have to jump in. Got to jump right in. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to set this up with a clip from Wolves and Finance. This is a clip from Wolves and Finance, not from today. I did see a show today. Oh, no, this is from today. I apologize. I saw a show today, and I'm going to play a clip of it. Zach, if you're listening, thank you, because you provided content that I can use. Here is Wolves in Finance. He's setting up a letter that Erika Kirk received. Now, we first saw, I think, the news reports of this letter back in maybe early December, like December 8th or 10th is about the first time I remember seeing this. But this is an interesting letter, and we got more context today. And there's a fact that Zach didn't cover on his Wolves in Finance video this morning, and I haven't seen anybody else cover today. And I think it's critical to understanding what this letter may be doing. So let me play this here for you. If the volume is not ideal, let me know. I will play with the panel over here and try to get it right. But let me play this for you so that you can see if you see what I see. If you see what I see.
This letter has been floating around and reported on by mainstream news outlets like CBS. Except the letter itself has never been shown until Paramount Tactical's podcast. In fact, I'm guessing he was not supposed to show this to his audience.
Stop me if you've heard that one before. Paramount Tactical gets a tip, and he accidentally shows the tip on screen when he's not supposed to. Ladies and gentlemen, it's happened before. Let Zach finish. I apologize. I was not planning to say all that. It's not in the script. It's not in the script. It just hit me all at once. Gary, we love you. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have done that. That was unfair. That was unright. Gary right now is blinking, and I'm sorry, Gary. I won't do it again. Well, I will if you do it again. I won't if you won't. How about that?
Because it is quite shocking. It is a 2-page letter on Department of the Treasury letterhead. It says it is responding to a request from Erika Kirk. It says, 1, there is no IRS investigation currently underway on Turning Point. 2, all 4 990 forms were filed by May 15th, 2025. 3, the next year's forms will be filed by May 15th, 2026. The letter is...
All right, that's all I got from Zach today. Let me tell you why I wanted to play that clip there. The letter does say all 3 of those things. Poor Gary, man. Oh, goodness gracious. I apologize if you just heard that go back through your ears. It went through mine. One day I'm going to get through a show without production problems. Not tonight. Let me pull up a actual copy of the letter here. This is I can squeeze this down a little bit and kind of just focus on the letter and it'll be bigger. There we go. Let me pull up a copy of this letter. There's something on here that Zach didn't really point out that I think is critical to understanding this letter. Here is the letter. Here's page 1. Here's page 2. Short, sweet, and pretty. Page 1. Notice the date up here on the top right of the letter. December 4th, 2025. Have you ever sent the IRS correspondence or reached out to the IRS and tried to hear back from them? Has that ever dawned on you? Have you ever had to get a question answered from the IRS? I have. You reach out in December. So it says here, Erika Kirk reached out on December 3. This is in response to your letter of December 3. If you reach out in December of 2025, you might hear back by June of 2027. Maybe, if you're lucky. They have never moved heaven and earth to answer a question so fast as they moved to answer this letter. Let me look at the date here. I think this was in the middle of the week. But let me just double check what the date was here. December 3 was a Wednesday. So apparently Wednesday at the IRS towards the end of the year, dead day. Everybody's sitting around waiting on letters to come in so they can immediately bang out responses. And not just any response, ladies and gentlemen. This is a response that required some investigation. This was a letter from December 3, 2025, and it asked the IRS 3 questions. This wasn't just a letter saying, hey, can I get a transcript of my IRS file? No. That would have been easy. This is a letter that required them to do 3 things, to look up 3 different things. 1, Erika Kirk is asking them whether any returns filed by those 4 entities, so they had to look it up in 4 different places, whether any returns filed by those 4 entities are being examined or subject to any other current investigation by the IRS, and if so, a description of the nature of such activity. That's a big question. It was answered in under a day, but it's a huge question. The IRS has to go first to their investigations department. Whoever received this letter has to forward it on to somebody. And they have to decide whether or not they're going to answer it right away. And if they are, they have to contact all of the investigators in the IRS to determine whether there's any kind of investigation going on into these. Two, this is the second. That was just one question, and it's 4 huge pieces. Question 2, confirmation that the above named entities submitted on time and to the IRS by May 15, 2025, their respective IRS forms 990 for the tax year beginning July 1 and ending June 30. Well, again, somebody has to go pull that information. They have to look, they have to notice, they have to find out. Finally, confirmation that the above named organizations are not required to submit until May 15, 2026, their respective IRS forms 990 for the tax year beginning July 1 and ending June 30. That one's pretty easy. I mean, that's when you file, right? Your accountant should be able to answer that. You shouldn't need an answer back from the Secretary of the Treasury, but let's not get a hold of ourselves here. So she asked those questions on December 3. They are answered on December 4. They're answered on December 4, and they're answered by the commissioner of the IRS, who also is the Treasury Secretary. Scott Bessent is a very busy man. I see him on CNBC. I see him on Fox Business. I see him on Twitter or X or whatever you call it these days. He's on all kinds of shows. He's a cabinet level official. You know what this tells me? Obviously, shouldn't have to point it out to an outfit with a high as IQ as you guys have. This, ladies and gentlemen, is a setup. This letter is a setup. This letter was not received by the IRS on December 3. I can assure you. This letter was discussed ahead of time with the Trump administration or someone in the Trump administration or someone at the Department of Treasury or the IRS. And they said, hey, we're having, this is my guess, this is my opinion, this is me, just my expertise, my knowledge of how the world works. This is basically what happened in all likelihood. If it happened differently, you correct me. I'm fine with that. I don't care. I'll issue a correction. If you literally just mailed a letter in on December 3 and just happened to get a letter back from the Secretary of the Treasury the following day, I will issue a correction. Short of that, my opinion is they probably reached out to somebody in the Trump administration, or someone in the Trump administration reached out to them and said, hey, I see you're having all these troubles and everybody's questioning your finances. Why don't we just get you a letter that settles this once and for all? If you'll send a letter, or we'll send you a letter, and it'll ask whether there are any investigations. It'll ask, was everything filed on time? And it'll say, when do we have to file the next things? Okay. And it probably was sent and drafted. Like when you send a motion to a judge, you send an order with it. Hey, judge, if you rule on my motion, here's an order you can sign. You don't have to write it. And assuming that's true, and I believe it's true, here's the conclusion I draw. The fact that it was sent on one day and the response came the next day, and the response came from the Secretary of the Treasury, the acting commissioner of the IRS, what that tells me is, ladies and gentlemen, is that this was in anticipation of a lawsuit. That's my opinion. That's not a legal opinion, but that's my opinion as a lawyer who's been practicing for 20 years. You want to know you have all your ducks in a row. And then you go file your lawsuit. That's my guess of what happened. And that's why I asked the question I asked on the poll earlier. If you showed up to the show early, I had a poll running for, 30 minutes or an hour before the thing, and it got a few thousand votes. But it asked, do you think the people who received a letter will be sued? I didn't used to think so. Even though I had heard of the existence of a letter clearing Turning Point USA of any investigation, which in and of itself is highly unusual. Like if you contact the FBI and say, am I under investigation? What are they going to say? No. I mean, they're not going to say no. They're going to say, I'm not talking to you. What are you talking about? That would be so inappropriate to respond to that question. Why? Several reasons. One, if we told everyone who asked no. What happens if you call and they say we can't talk about it? Then what's the implication of that? You see the problem? You see the problem? If Baron Coleman calls and says, "Hey, are my taxes under investigation?" They're like, "No." Erika Kirk called. "Are my taxes under investigation?" "No." Candace Owens, "Are my taxes under investigation?" "No." Well, then Steve Smith down the road says, "I want to know if my taxes are under investigation." So he calls. They say, "We can neither confirm nor deny." Well, what is the answer then? Yes, obviously his taxes are under investigation because they're in the habit of telling everyone no. I've never heard of a law enforcement agency confirming someone wasn't under investigation. It's almost unheard of. So the fact that they answered it tells me there's a setup. And therefore, anyone who made a comment on any one of these three issues might want to make sure they are very clean on that it was opinion. It was not they were not making a statement of fact. Maybe go back and issue some corrections. This would be my legal opinion to them if they came to me asking for legal advice. I'm giving it to you for free. Like number one here, I'll reshare it so you can see what I'm talking about. Number one here, IRS records reflect the IRS is not exam. So if you said at any point during one of your shows that you think the IRS is investigating them, I would make that correction tomorrow. Number two, the IRS records reflect everything was filed on time. If you made a factual statement that they weren't filed on time, I would make that correction. Even if you hadn't gotten a letter, I would make the correction. And I'll tell you why in just a second. Number three, if you said they had a different due date and you're questioning why their stuff, I would make that correction. And here's why. Two reasons. One is I don't want to get sued, obviously. No one should want to get sued. Number two, you want to be right. You don't want to be wrong, right? I say a lot of things. I make a lot of conclusions. If I'm wrong, I'll change my mind. If I'm wrong, I will go out and tell people, "Hey, I made a mistake here." I'm happy to issue corrections. You know why? That means we're moving the ball down the field. We're eliminating wrong possibilities. I thought that was a remarkable letter. Shout out to Gary once again doing the Lord's work with his journalism. Unbelievable. He was able to confirm Mitch Snow is at Fort Huachuca through his excellent groundbreaking journalism. Gary, Paramount Tactical right there. Shout out, Gary. And now he's able to give us a copy of this controversial letter that demonstrates that this kind of has the appearance of, in my opinion, probably could be a setup. So, Gary, my man, keep doing you, baby. You keep doing you. You keep doing all that good investigation. Who's a good boy? Who's a good boy? I won't rub your head, Gary. I won't rub your head. I promise. I promise. All right, let me shift gears. We're going to shift gears sort of mightily here. So bear with me. But we are going to go back to a Wolves in Finance video when we shift gears. But we're not going to go back to a Wolves in Finance video from today. We're going to go back into the archives 1 month ago, November 30th, 2025, almost 2 months ago. Oh, what was Wolves in Finance talking about 2 months ago? And he found an interesting tidbit in the taxes, and I want to give him the credit. The TPUSA taxes. He found an interesting tidbit, and I want to give Wolves in Finance the credit. I appreciate when people give me the credit when I find little tidbits. This is from the Wolves in Finance video, and it explains a key part of the TPUSA story.
In the 990 forms, you can go to page 8, and each organization must list out their highest paid independent contractors. What is curious is that on the FY24 form for America's Turning Point, Tyler Bowyer lists himself as an independent contractor.
To begin with, that's foul, putting that picture up. Like, I can't believe he did that. If anyone ever did me that dirty, I would be so angry. Like, there's some good pictures of Tyler Bowyer out there. That ain't among them, but that's okay. We've all had bad pictures. But that's not one of the better pictures. But that's okay. So I'll let him finish his sentence.
And he puts his personal home address.
Okay. I don't want you guys going and looking at his home address. So don't pull the tax records. That's not the point I'm making here. What I'm trying to accomplish with this is I always wondered, why was he a contractor for this organization? I could not for the life of me figure out why he was a contractor. And it bothered me. It bothered me a lot. Didn't keep me up at night. Maybe a little. I'm one of those people that wakes up. I don't have trouble going to sleep, but if I wake up and my mind is spinning, it does take me a few minutes to get back to sleep. But I couldn't figure for the life of me, why is he an independent contractor? It doesn't make any sense. And in the Wolves and Finance video, he said their accountant said it was the best way to structure it. Well, that didn't make sense to me either. I've worked at a lot of businesses. I've never had actually one business had but we had a fractional CFO. And that fractional CFO was an independent contractor and an officer. But that's because it was a fractional position, which by nature is not going to be a full-time employee. I've never seen somebody as a chief anything officer or high-ranking official in a business as a contractor when they're essentially an employee and they're going around telling people they built the business from the ground up. So it has bothered me. It has bothered me. But I think I was researching an issue with our good listener, Daisy. Daisy is fast becoming one of my very favorite viewers because she is very astute on some of this stuff. Hold on. What? Oh, no. Never mind. I was going to pull up a picture of Tyler Bowyer, but it's actually the same picture Wolves and Finance had. That's dirty. Why did I do that? That is so dirty. Yeah, this was the screenshot I had. I didn't know it was the same picture. I guess he stole it from Wikipedia, too. Yeah, look at that. That's funny. I apologize, Tyler. It won't happen again. Yes. It won't happen again. I guess Wikipedia hates Tyler. It's not me. It's not Wolves and Finance. It's media. It's Wikipedia. But here is why I think we end up with a Tyler Bowyer situation where he has to be an independent contractor. I'm going to show you the filing for a business called Superfeed. Has anybody ever heard of Superfeed? Superfeed Technologies was originally a pretty cool concept. You would organize all of the this is a public filing, by the way. It's just their annual report. I'm not showing you anything secret or inside. Superfeed originally, and it'll have some address on here. I'm pretty sure these are business addresses, but still don't show up as Superfeed's business. I guess we're better than that. And don't email them, don't call them. Let's just have a conversation among us here. But Superfeed had a cool concept. It was, when it was founded, you would take your news feed, like maybe you read the Wall Street Journal, you read Fox News, you read CNBC, whatever, and you would construct your own curated news feed, similar to how you do with X, right, or Facebook. You can sort of identify whose stuff you want to see and create your own algorithm, and it was a pretty cool little concept. I'll tell you what they do now. It's totally changed, but that's how they were kind of founded. That was the idea. But if you look down here at the directors of this company, you see Tyler Bowyer right there. I don't know if you can see that. It's pretty small. You also see Lori Franzwe. This is Erika Franzwe's mother, the former, well, I guess current Erika Kirk, but she'll always be Erika Franzwe to me from now on. That is the mother of Erika Franzwe. You'll see some other people here we'll talk about in a minute. But the one I want you to key in on right now is Tyler Bowyer. He is a director of this company, Superfeed Technologies. Well, why does that matter? Why do we care who the director of Superfeed Technologies is? Well, here's why. I'm going to show you a conflict of interest policy that must be adopted if you are a 501c3. This is important. This is a little dense, but again, this is a high IQ outfit. You guys can follow along here. This is the IRS Form 1023 comments. The comments to IRS Form 1023. This is the need for a conflict of interest policy. A conflict of interest would occur where an officer, director, or trustee votes on a contract between the organization and business that's owned by the officer, director, or trustee. Conflicts of interest frequently arise when setting compensation or benefits for officers, directors, or trustees. So what this is saying is, and there's a series of rules associated with this, right? The general rules are, if you're running a nonprofit organization and you want to do business, because a nonprofit organization has a duty to the donor, it has a duty to the public, it has a duty to the taxpayer. This duty is very broad at a nonprofit. Far broader is this duty than if you're just running a private business. Now, you have duties that arise. You have fiduciary duties if you're running a private business to maximize shareholder value, for example, to not break the law. But when you're running a nonprofit, what the government has said is, we're going to give you certain benefits. You're not going to have to pay taxes because you're doing stuff in the public interest. But because of that, we have a right to look at your compensation, make sure it's not out of bounds. We have a right to look at your expenditures, making sure they're not out of bounds. Are you flying around in Gulfstream 5 or are you flying coach, for example? Not that that's come up in any particular company, but we'll consider it as we'll table it for now. But one of the things that comes up is, are you doing business? Are you using your nonprofit to advantage yourself? So if you're an employee of the nonprofit, if you're a high-ranking employee of the nonprofit, if you're the chief operating officer, for example, of a nonprofit, well, let's call it Burning Point USA. We have a nonprofit, ladies and gentlemen, Burning Point USA. Your humble host is the chief operating officer of Burning Point. And I sit as a director on a company called Superfeed. And I go out and I do business with Superfeed, and I might own a piece of Superfeed. I'm not sure. But I do business. The nonprofit does business with my private entity. There arises a rebuttable presumption that there's a conflict of interest. So Burning Point, because I am an employee, a high-ranking employee, would need to follow a series of things and file some statements saying we have a potential conflict of interest. We're disclosing it. It has to be disclosed on the 990 filings on a schedule there, or a section there. And you got to follow certain rules. You got to have an arm's length transaction. It has to be neutral. In other words, the insider, your humble host, because I also am a director or an officer, an owner over at Superfeed, and I also am a full-time employee, a high-ranking chief operating officer at Burning Point. I have to make sure it's neutral. So therefore, I have to withdraw myself from all discussion of this contract. I have to seek bids. Why? Because I have to be able to show the IRS and donors that this was neutral, that there was a fair price paid, that there was an arm's length transaction. So if there's other businesses in this space, for example, I would have to go to them and say, I would like a quote for your services. I wouldn't be able to just do business with Superfeed. But if I'm a contractor, all that goes out the window. None of that matters anymore. We don't talk about it anymore. But I want to go back to the Form 1023 policy for a second here. Oh, no. Never mind. Pulled up the wrong one. There's an issue I have with it about family members because, as we talked about, Ms. Francevey was on there. But we'll gloss over that for another day. So that's the Form 1023 policy. There is an IRC code section that deals directly with exempt transactions and how to get around them. And if it is deemed an improper transaction between an insider and a company he's too close with, there's a tax that has to be paid. It's pretty stout, like 25%. And so people try to avoid it. But if you're doing a lot of business with a company and it becomes pretty obvious there's a conflict, it's just a lot easier to say, well, you're a 1099 employee. Is that why Tyler Bowyer was a 1099? I don't know. We've never gotten a good explanation other than that's what the accountant thought was a good deal. But I wonder. And I wonder if it extends beyond Superfeed, because we just saw Tyler Bowyer was on the board of Superfeed. Does it extend beyond Superfeed? Are there other independent contractors rather than employees at Turning Point? So here is proof that what I'm saying may be a concern. This is an AP article from October of 2024 where they talk about Superfeed. They talk about you download the app. This is a Turning Point official. Martinez at the June event told attendees concerned about helping Republicans win, the best way to help was to use the app. This is a Turning Point official telling people how to make Republicans win. Is anybody spotting the problem? This is a nonprofit. It's a 501c3. They're operating as an extension of the Republican Party, and they're not paying taxes. We are now an official arm of the Trump campaign. Turning Point operative Luke Malice told members of the Monroe County Republican Party in Michigan, while urging the group to become a paying client of the company that made the Turning Point app. This is Superfeed. For over a year, Turning Point has aggressively pitched its new voter mobilization app, a potentially lucrative venture that, if successful, critics believe could strengthen its grasp on the Republican Party machinery. Turning Point operatives lean heavily into their close affiliation with Trump. The app was designed by Superfeed, a company with direct ties to Turning Point's leader. Tyler Bowyer, Turning Point's chief operating officer, sits on the company's board and formerly the company's chairman. Business filings show Kirk's mother-in-law also serves on the Superfeed board. We'll look at it in just a second. We'll look at Superfeed a little closer in just a second. But this is a link that I think could explain why Tyler Bowyer could not be the chief operating officer as a full-time employee, but had to be an independent contractor. My question for the IRS is this: does that pass the smell test to you? It doesn't to me. If that's the reason, it doesn't pass the smell test. I think that looks like an interested transaction. I think that looks like a non-exempt transaction. And if it's a non-exempt transaction, that could cost Turning Point their 501c3 status. It definitely could cause them to start paying taxes on all the expenditures they made on that. And again, I don't know how much they spent on all that, but it's 25%, I think, is the tax penalty, plus interest, plus penalties. It potentially could be a lot of money. And is that a proper use of Turning Point USA to be an arm of the Trump campaign? They're saying they are. That's interesting to me. That's very interesting to me. So let me pause there. And we're going to go a little deeper even. Because now I want to introduce you to the people who started Superfeed before it was known as Superfeed. This is where the IQ level gets even a little higher. The dig goes even a little deeper. Again, total shout out to Daisy May for helping on this. This was incredible work. I want to introduce you to a guy named Floyd Brown. Has anybody heard of Floyd Brown? Floyd is this guy. He's the founder of Citizens United. You guys have heard of Citizens United, right? This was the lawsuit in front of the Supreme Court that allowed corporate takeovers of our elections. I know the Republicans all cheerled the Citizens United decision. Oh, it's about free speech. No, it's about corporate takeovers. It's about making sure you were not the ones deciding who was going to be the next president of the United States or the next United States senator. It was making sure Walmart made that decision, making sure Sun Microsystems made that decision. But that's not why I'm pulling him up here. So he had this Citizens United decision. He's been involved for a long time. Citizens United, he's been, around the Republican Party for 30 years. He was involved in the Bush presidential campaign. He helped break the Whitewater controversy. He got involved in the 2008 McCain race. Here's a YAF connection. I don't know if you guys know this organization, Young America Foundation. It says it's the largest right-wing campus organization in the United States. Operates the Reagan's Ranch. So he was the executive director of the West Coast office, real estate investor, financial consultant. This guy is an insider's insider. That is Floyd Brown, an insider's insider. Now, why am I showing you Floyd Brown? Because Floyd Brown, oh man. Oh, please. Put the wrong link on my runner show here. Let me find it. Won't take long. Give me just a moment. There we go. Floyd Brown started a company called Feed Me. Feed Me. Feed Me was founded in Delaware. If I can find the link. Is that it? Yeah, there it is. Feed Me was founded in Delaware. Feed Me Inc. And this makes sense. You're creating a feed, your own curated feed. That's what the company was founded to do. You would put an app on your phone. This is December of 2018. You would put an app on your phone and you would then curate it. Here are the people who were involved in it. You had Floyd Brown, the aforementioned Floyd Brown. This guy, Todd Keferati. Patrick Brown, Floyd Brown's son. Catherine Brown, I believe, might be Floyd Brown's wife. And then this random guy named David Torres. We're not going to come back to David Torres, but we are going to revisit Floyd Brown, Catherine Brown, and Patrick Brown, and even this Todd Keferati guy right here. So this was the 2018 company that became Superfeed. It was called Feed Me. It was called Feed Me. Now, what happened to Feed Me? Where did it go? Well, as it's cooking along, it becomes a company called Superfeed. And I will show you where that happened. I'm just showing you. I'm not showing you all this because I think you guys are dumb or anything. I just don't want you to think I'm making stuff up. This is where it became Superfeed. This is called a Form D. So when you raise money, even in a private transaction, a lot of times you'll file something called a Form D. It's a Securities and Exchange Commission deal. And what Form D is, it puts everyone on notice that there's been a change in ownership structure in an investment. And it provides, I believe it provides some measure of liability protection for things that happened prior to this. But so this was Feed Me JV or Feed Me Inc. that became Superfeed Technologies. This happened in 2021, I believe. But again, you see these names here: Patrick Brown. Don't worry about Lori Klein Corbin. Don't worry about James Lehman. Don't worry about Jeff DeWitt yet. Don't worry about. There's Catherine Brown. There's Todd Keferati. We talked about him. And it just lets you know there's some cash taking place, right? And there was a $1.5 million commission on the sales and all that kind of stuff. So that is when it became Superfeed. Feed Me became Superfeed. But notice there's no Tyler Bowyer. There's no Lori Frantzvey. There's just this consummate Republican political insider named Floyd Brown and his family and a few other hangers-on. So how do we go from consummate Republican political insider to Lori Frantzvey and TPUSA basically owning this app is what it sounds like, as they're telling people, hey, this is our app. We do it in-house. You guys want to buy this? It's amazing. How does that happen? Well, actually, real quickly, let me back up just a second. There's one more thing I want to show you here on Floyd Brown before we leave Mr. Brown. And this is going to set up a couple of different discussions. But this is Floyd Brown's company called Liftable Media. Liftable Media has a whole host of companies under it. This is kind of the big, I guess we'd call parent company, Floyd Brown and Catherine Brown, Mary Brown, Patrick Brown. I'm guessing that's all Floyd's family. I doubt those are random people named Brown. But here's a list of trademarks they have. So they have Conservative Tribune, Conservative 50 Plus Alliance, Liberty Alliance, Liftable Media, Liftable, Mini Feed, Superfeed, Patriot Update, Thoughtful Women, the Patriot Update, USA Depot, the Western Journal, Western Journalism. So they have all of these pieces of intellectual property owned by Liftable Media, owned by the Brown family, essentially. And that's important. We'll come back to that in just a second. But along the way, Liftable Media becomes, Feed Me becomes Superfeed. And along the way, Superfeed all of a sudden ends up in Arizona. And that's where you end up with all of the Arizona connections. That's when you end up with all the TPUSA connections. And I'll show you that. This is the annual report from this year. What yet again? You end up with Lori Franzfey. You end up with Todd Keferati. You end up with Tyler Bowyer. So something's happened here. Something's happened that Feed Me was a news organization. Now, I want to show you real quickly. I'm going to the Wayback Machine because I want to show you what Superfeed looked like a couple of years ago. And then I want to show you what it looks like today. And I want to show you the transition period when you could see all of the TPUSA people get involved. So this is the website of Superfeed. This is, like I said, a pretty cool looking little app. Obviously, it didn't do well. This is the Wayback version of Superfeed from 2021, January of 2021. You would get on superfeedtech.com up here, and this is what the website would look like. If you're a sports fan, you would have your mini feed up here. You would have your Superfeed up here, right? It's your news and information super highway. They created Superfeed to give unbiased. So it had nothing to do with elections. It had nothing to do with any of that. But it did get funded. You saw the Form D filed. So all of a sudden you have this consummate political insider who owns a business that has taken on a huge investment. And then after it takes a huge investment, they turn around and they change business strategy. So here's what the website looked like in 2023. Let's just pick a random date in 2023. November 26th of 2023. Here's what the Superfeed website looked like then. It was still about curating a news feed. But notice here, they've added a little availability, a little capability to do some door knocking. And what company do they just happen to use as the example for door knocking? So they still do this. They still do the super feed of your news. That was the goal here. That's how they always acted. But they just, and you can see here, U.S. News, the persistence of Twitter feed, Elon Musk. They've got a little USA Today piece of their super feed. So you still would have the ability to curate your news feed. But if you wanted to, you also could have a door knocking and phone call bank through this super feed. And it's got the America Fest 2022 logo down there. Absolutely amazing. Now let's go a little farther. Let's go into, let's say, August of 2024. What does the website look like then? This was interesting to me when I saw how the transition took place. All of a sudden, it's gone. A new Superfeed client experience is coming soon. Well, that's interesting. What's happening? Well, this is during the 2024 election. So what does it look like in May of 2025? Have we gotten a Superfeed client experience? Have we figured out what it is we're doing? Oh, yeah, we do. We actually do have a new website here, but the website no longer has any news organization to it whatsoever. Instead, it's Amplify, engage, and drive meaningful connections with confidence and efficiency, one tap at a time. It's slow because it's running on archives servers. I doubt it was this slow in real life. Let me hit a different date and see if it speeds up a little bit. But what you'll see is, and while it's loading, what you'll see is they have dropped the newsfeed component entirely. No longer do they have a newsfeed component at all. Instead, it is wholly and solely a website about, an app about engaging with your audience. That's all it is. It is solely and wholly become a way to go out and knock on doors, make phone calls, run campaigns. It is a campaign website now. That's all it is. And if you don't believe me, we can leave this entirely and go to superfeedtech.com because we don't need that anymore. And now look, all it is the door registers here. This is the primary component of it. And it's again, the example they're using almost assuredly is something taking place for TPUSA here. So these are your examples: Republican Party, Georgia Republican Party, Irvine, whatever. And you go through here and you would click on these and you would have access to the list of all the different people that you're trying to reach on behalf of your political campaign. So I thought that was interesting. And you might think to yourself, well, surely that's all the connections you could draw from here. Yeah, that makes sense why Tyler Bowyer, if they're making all this money with all these different customers on this app, and these apps are subscriptions. I bought these apps before. You remember the last one we used, but it's been a while since I bought these apps. But we used to put these apps on I used to have a consulting company that had a bunch of door knockers. And we put the app on the door knocker's phone, and it would have a script. It would tell them where to go and say, stop at, home 3010. And they would go to 3010 and say, okay, I'll stop there. Yeah. Are you Mrs. Davis? Yeah, I'm Miss Davis. Okay. Are you planning to vote in the November election? And they would click yes or no. Boop, 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 boop. And then that data would be stored in a database, and the political campaigns, the activist groups would have access to it. They would know whether to send her additional mail. They would know whether to send people by to knock on her house. It's just mass data collection. And then they sell this data after the election. They sell it to anyone who wants it. It's a really good data. Very valuable business. All right, let's go back to Liftable for just a second. You guys remember Liftable? That was Frank Brown's group. And you remember Todd Keferati? This is just a little side venture here. This is just for fun. You remember Todd Keferati? He was on the foundation pages over there for the original Feed Me and Superfeed and all that. He's been a successful entrepreneur, CEO, conservative political activist. He's a senior digital consultant at one of the largest news organizations in the country, Liftable Media. He's also the co-founder of a new free speech social news platform, Feed Me app. So this is Todd Keferati. Now, the reason I'm pausing on Todd, I want to show you a weird connection to all this that you guys may not know exists, but I want you to know it exists because I think it's important we know who these people are. I want to introduce you to Brandon Tatum. You guys know Brandon Tatum, Officer Tatum? Podcaster, content producer. Here's his political commentary section on his Wikipedia page. In May 2022, he began hosting a national talk radio program, The Officer Tatum Show, distributed by Salem. We talked about Salem last week. We'll talk about them again in just a second. He served as the director of urban engagement for a short period of time at TPUSA before founding his own media company. So we'll come back to that in just a second. He resigned from the Tucson Police Department to join Liftable Media, a conservative content producer that owns and operates the Western Journal and Conservative Tribune. Who is Liftable Media? You guys know who this is now. It's Frank Brown, consummate political insider. Frank Brown, who started Feed Me with all these insiders. Frank Brown, who started it with Keferati. They started Feed Me, and then that became TPUSA's go-to app for door knocking and data collection from their supporters and from just Republicans in general. He used to appear as a guest on Candace's PragerU show, the Candace Owens show, as well as her daily Wire political podcast. Candace, if you follow Officer Tatum at all, you'll know he's no longer friendly with Candace. Or I don't say he's no longer friendly. He's taken a different tone towards Candace. So we've got Todd Cafferati working at this insider group, Liftable Media. Todd Cafferati, who's with Feed Me and Superfeed. Now watch this. You're going to like this connection here. You're going to really like this connection. Watch this. You want to know why Officer Tatum might have some of the views he has? Here is the Tatum Report, LLC. This is the media company referenced above in the Wikipedia page. There is Brandon Tatum, a member of the LLC. You would think because it's called the Tatum Report, it might be his own LLC. I have my own LLCs that I own for my own ventures. But look who is a co-owner. Todd Cafferati. There's your co-owner. Officer Tatum's Tatum Report is owned in part by Todd Cafferati of Liftable Media. Todd Cafferati of Consummate Political Insider. I think that's fascinating to me. You know the political positions these guys hold. And that might help explain why Officer Tatum holds the political positions he holds. Now, it could be cause and effect I have reversed. Maybe because Officer Tatum holds these deeply globalist, corporatist positions, he is attracted and wants to go work for a guy that co-owns Superfeed, a guy that is a political insider with Liftable Media. That might be that. In other words, the mainstream political position might have attracted him rather than influenced him. I thought that was pretty fascinating. If you remember, I said a moment ago, Brandon Tatum had been on Salem Radio. Here is evidence of that. He replaced Larry Elder on Salem Radio. Salem's night slot. That's a May 2022 article there. I don't know whether he still has that slot. I'll be honest with you. I don't listen to Salem Radio. I don't listen to the Charlie Kirk show. I don't listen to any of the Salem Radio stuff. Now, if you will recall, what is the connection to Salem Radio? Guys, we're having fun tonight. I don't know how much fun you guys can handle because I could go do this kind of stuff all day. This is fun to me. What is the connection here to Salem Radio? Let's go back to what we covered last week. Where is it? Let me control F it here. There it is. This was the Clock Tower X filing from last week. Integration of narrative messaging into Salem's media properties and aligned distribution channels. Well, what is the political position there? As you know, this is Clock Tower X's FARA filing. They filed it on behalf of Havas Media Network, doing business on behalf of a foreign government in the Middle East, our greatest ally. So that is the connection between Clock Tower X. Now, do you remember who is the chief strategy officer at Salem? That's right. Our good friend Brad Parscale. FARA filing shows plans to promote pro-Israel messaging at conservative Salem Media Network. So if you want to know why Officer Tatum has some of the views he has, let's follow the money. Let's follow the corporate paperwork. Let's look at who it belongs to, which of these media entities, who owns part of his media outlet, Who owns part of the Tatum report? Oh, it's Keferati. Keferati from Liftable Media? Keferati from Feed Me? Keferati from Superfeed? Guys, it's all connected. It's a big club, and you ain't in it. It's a big club, and you aren't in it. Nor am I. Thank God. Thank God I'm not in it. I don't want to be in their club. I don't want to be in their club. I want to go back and be in the old club. The old club. I am going to show you something fascinating. I mean, just fascinating. It's going to take a second to pull up because this website's actually been pulled down. I can't go to it except through the Wayback Machine. And the Wayback Machine is being cranky tonight. Woo! It's been a big show here. Oh, come on, cranky website. This is too long. Let me try to get to it this way. That might be better. Oh, the archive. You remember when they pulled the Rob McCoy sermon down mid-show? That's a little bit what it feels like tonight. I'll get this pulled up one way or the other. Oh, I got to tell you. You guys know that crazy lady that, what was her name? Lori Cardozo Moore. I did not have this on the agenda to talk about tonight. You guys know who I'm talking about, right? Lori Cardozo Moore is allegedly the woman who sent the threatening text to Charlie the day before he died. That was the text thread that Candace showed on her show Thursday. That allegedly was a woman named Lori Cardozo Moore. She lives around here. She lives 20 minutes away from where I live. She's in this area. You know, she's on our state's textbook commission, the Tennessee Textbook Commission. I think, let me pull that up. I think that's online. I know I heard that, but I think I can, yes. Anti-mosque activist reappointed to Tennessee Textbook Commission. This is Lori Cardozo Moore, the total psychopath, allegedly, in my opinion. It's not medical advice. I'm not a doctor. I don't even play one on a podcast. But her text to Charlie Kirk was unhinged. I mean, unhinged. She is on the Tennessee Textbook Commission. Governor Lee, is there something you can do about that, good sir? Can you have her removed? I don't want that woman picking my kids' textbooks. That woman's nuts. I'm sorry, nuts. And I have no problem saying that. She's an absolute loonbat, in my opinion. The text she wrote, if Charlie Kirk had not passed away, we would not have, in all likelihood, not have seen those texts. And that's the scariest part. Who else has she sent texts like that to? Who else is sending texts like this out to people? Basically, God is going to smite you. You better repent. And it's not like God's going to smite you. It's more like we're going to smite you. All right, back to what I was going to cover because it finally popped up. That was an aside. That's called stretching in the radio, ladies and gentlemen. That's stretching. That's when you have about a minute and a half to fill because something's loading or a guest canceled or you're having a technical difficulty. And the producer does this. That's stretch. And he'll say, stretch for 1:30. Stretch for 1:30. And you'll go, okay. And you tell a story about Fruit Loop on the Textbook Commission. That's how you stretch, ladies and gentlemen. You go to the Fruit Loop bag. All right. Here is a letter from the founder. This is dated April 15, 2013. This was the earliest I could find on the website. But I want you to read how far TPUSA has come. This is the original mission and vision of the founder of TPUSA. The inspiration to start Turning Point USA was not a political motivation. Well, right there, everything that's happening post Charlie Kirk death is out the window. Instead, it is an idea that every young person in the country can possess the knowledge and power to stand up against falsehoods. The true dangers of high debts and deficits can be understood by every citizen, young or old, liberal or conservative. Turning Point never was or will be in favor of a candidate or political party. Has anyone run this by Miss Frantzvey? She was on the stage at AmFest endorsing J.D. Vance, not only in favor of a candidate and a party. They haven't even had the primary yet. The election's 3 years away. And she's out here all in already. This is what TPUSA was founded on. TPUSA never was or will be in favor of a candidate or political party. Excuse me, for those of you saying you're ruining the Charlie Kirk legacy, that we're ruining it because we want to know where the money's going. Oh, you're ruining the Charlie Kirk legacy. Because we want to know all the political connections, these masters of the universe. Oh, you guys are ruining Charlie Kirk's legacy. I want to know who put a hole in his neck. Oh, you're ruining the Charlie Kirk legacy. Stop asking. I want to know why the amazing Mikey McCoy was walking off 0.8 of a second after the Big Bang. Oh, you're ruining his legacy. I want to know why they paved over the crime scene and put potted daffodils all over the place. Oh, you're ruining his legacy. I want to know why Brian Harpole's on a top 10 podcast, the Sean Ryan Show, saying that the chief of police agreed to cover the Losi Center roof and lying about it. You're ruining his legacy. No, his legacy was that they're not going to be in favor of a candidate or political party. That was his words, not mine. And his wife goes out, not just in the midst of an election, 3 years before the election even starts, and endorses a guy who she hugged pretty weirdly, if we're being honest. Hate to be the guy to point it out. Back to the letter. Rather, Turning Point USA stands firmly on the grounds that older generations have a moral authority and responsibility to hand a better country down to their grandchildren. Recently, we've seen the opposite. We're seeing the negative effects of high debts and deficits, the destructive force of trillion-dollar deficits, and the byproducts of an ill-informed electorate. TPUSA will work tirelessly towards an informed electorate by establishing chapters in high schools and colleges, hosting debates, rallies, town halls, and addressing the issues plaguing this country. Unite with us behind the tenets of fiscal responsibility, living within one's means, and the collective belief that tomorrow is brighter. Again, no overtly Christian overtones. That came later, after Miss Frantzvey showed up. Now, what was the mission of TPUSA? We've talked a lot about TPUSA. What was their original mission? We got to go back and look. Starts conversations among young people by educating students about their Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ? No, not that. About the dangers of Catholicism? No, not that. About our greatest ally and how we must yield to be second-class citizens? No, not that. Educating students about fiscal responsibility, free markets, and capitalism? Ding, 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 ding. Yes, economic liberalism or libertarianism. Basically, the Von Mises Institute. I always give them a plug because I don't understand why TPUSA exists in the early days if the Von Mises Institute exists. Just go over there. It's on a college campus. Go to them and say, I want to take Von Mises to the masses. Lou Rockwell would have appreciated it, Chuck. Charlie, I do apologize. TPUSA believes every young person can be enlightened to Christianity? No. Enlightened to the role our greatest ally plays in geopolitics in the Middle East? No. Every young person can be enlightened to biblical principles? No. There it is. True free market values. Oh, okay. They believed in balanced budgets. They believed in an informed electorate, the power of youth, an independent approach. Oh, we see it again. TPUSA does not stand on party, rather on principle. Both sides of the aisle are responsible for reckless spending and trillion-dollar deficits. It's time now for a resurgent citizen force to take action against politicians by educating the electorate about the theft that's been occurring. Well, this seems mightily different than what we have today. This seems totally different, by the way. And I'm not banging on him. I'm just saying, don't talk to me about destroying his legacy. You guys already did it. Here are the goals, very modest goals, by the way. 2013, 2016, have a balanced budget. Well, we didn't reach that. In fact, we're spending trillions more every year than we have. 20 chapters in every state in the country. Check. Got that one out of the way. Distributed 3 million pamphlets detailing a generational theft. Someone must have had a printing a printing company. Because I can't, when I think of what really moves college students, I don't think of pamphlets detailing generational theft. That's not where my mind goes. Empower every student in America to take action. Okay, that's kind of vague, but whatever. Hold every politician accountable. Oh, yeah. All right. I'm curious, if you looked at their very early tax returns, is there any printing costs that are like abnormally high? Because that's such a weird thing. This is such broad goals: balanced budget for the country, hold every politician accountable, empower every student. We're going to print 3 million pamphlets. Wait, what? Yeah, we're going to print 3 million pamphlets. That'll get them. That sounds like someone with a printing company saying, you know what you ought to do? You ought to print 3 million pamphlets. Or someone with maybe an app company. You know what you ought to do? You ought to download apps. We'll call it Superfeed. Just for hypothetical purposes. I'm telling you guys, the more I look into this stuff, the more I look into all these weird connections, the more disgusted I get. Like it's bad. And the more I realize this was not a rando from St. George, Utah, who drove 4 hours north on a week's notice or less of where Charlie Kirk would be, maybe a couple of days' notice of exactly where he would be, after scribbling some memes into the side of a bullet and decided to take Charlie Kirk out. I just, the more I think about it, the more I think, no. I'm looking at all this insider stuff. I'm looking at how money just rules the roost for all these people. I'm looking at how all it is cash. Everything's about money. Everything's connected. Everything's this guy and this guy hooking up, making money. This guy and this guy hooking up, making money. This guy and this guy hooking up, making money. How can we make money? Well, we're going to go print a bunch of stuff. How can we make money? Oh, we're going to have an app. How can we make money? We're going to hook our feed to hook our sales to our greatest ally. They're spending hundreds of millions of dollars. Okay. You can like or not like the greatest ally and still not like that strategy of nonprofits aimed at college students hooking their sales to a foreign country and letting that just dump 9 figures worth of money into the budget. It's not that. It's the money corrupting absolutely every aspect of this. That is the problem with every aspect of TPUSA. It looks, in my opinion, like the greediest SOBs in the world swimming around like sharks and someone threw, a bait bucket in there and they're just swimming around. And I look at this and I think, did he even see it coming? Like, did he realize how bad it is, or was that what the Doge effort was for? Is it possible the Doge effort was to see how bad it really was? What were they really trying to accomplish behind the scenes? How bad was the corruption in Phoenix? And I think your answer is, at least my answer, the answer I see, is that it's worse than we ever imagined. It's worse than we ever could have possibly imagined it was. There are there are so many more tangled webs. I can only feed you one or two at a time. You know, we had to do the clock tower one. We had to do the what was the other one? Superfeed, not Superfeed, the other one. But we have to do these one or two at a time, or they'll get all confused, and it could take years to unwind all the depths of corruption within the place, in my opinion. Now, listen, I will give them the benefit of the doubt. It's possible this is the most innocently run, angelic organization in the history of mankind. There might be perfectly good explanations for every one of these tangled webs that are woven behind the scenes. I just don't see it. And I mean, that might be my problem, but I just don't see it. I appreciate you guys hanging with me. There was a lot of dense material tonight. The opening was pretty dense. I know it was dense. But I thought it was important because Joe McCarthy not only is a hero of mine, he sits on my wall. I love Joe McCarthy. That book is partially why. So I was not going to miss the opportunity to weave him in there because I think what Joe, I'll pull this down for a second. I'm just letting it hang out there. I think what Joe McCarthy went through, Tucker Carlson's going through, Candace Owens going through, Zach at Wolves and Finance is going through now that he got the letter. You know, anytime the mainstream and the mainstream media and the political establishment get together and decide you're an enemy, your life's going to be tough. You better have a good support group around you. You better have a good audience. You better have a good friend group. Do you think the IRS would ignore all of the TPUSA fraud allegations? Corruptness is everywhere. Yes. Do I think they would, or do I think they're going to? I think they could. I mean, it's possible, sure. Do I think they're going to? I don't know. I don't know what they know. I don't know what they know. The Great Inversion, a false awakening whereby the steadily waking masses of freedom lovers are duped once more into falling for the fake heroes and messiahs and steadily manipulated into supporting their own enslavement. Derek Brose. Is he a broadcaster? That name sounds familiar. Derek Brose. Is he a talk radio host? I want to say he's in Texas. Let me look him up. I think I'm right about that. Derek Brose. Author, journalist, documentary filmmaker, and activist based in Houston, Texas. I thought he had a radio show. I could be wrong about that. Maybe he was on a radio show from down there. Anyway, I had him correctly pegged in Texas. I'm familiar with him. I'm not just a broadcaster. Great quote. Thank you. And thank you for the generous donation, Brandon. Appreciate that. Hey, Baron. Number 33 keeps appearing 33 hours to arrest Tyler Robinson. Dan Flood's dad, military, 33 years. 33rd degree is an honorary degree for exceptional service, leadership, contribution, and Freemasonry. Yeah, we've noticed that. 33 stars on the TPUSA flag at AmFest. Young lady, we've gone deep. We've gone deep. Let me check here, the grumblers. I see you, grumblers. I'm here with you. TPUSA became corrupt as soon as Erika came into the picture. All the best from Australia to you and yours. Yeah. I mean, the timing certainly seems about that. The timing certainly seems about that. I'm getting scared by the evil in this world. Y'all keep shining the light and exposing it. I have to remind myself the words of Paul and to not worry. I gave up worry. I gave up anxiety. It can be done. It can be done. Supporting all you truth tellers. Christ is king. Christ is king indeed. Thank you for being brave. You're setting a great example. I'm trying out here. They're all trying, frankly. Hi, Baron. Appreciate everything you do for truth. Love your introductions and predict overwhelming success in this new job. God bless you. Well, thank you. God bless you as well. And I hope you're right. I don't want to go out of business. Huge fan. Your opening statements are phenomenal. How could someone as high IQ as Charlie Kirk be immersed in such depravity and not know? Were we duped or mistaken about him? Thanks for the great content. I have really struggled with the answer to this question. Genuinely. I want to say he was just naive enough to allow it to take place around him without him knowing. But I don't want to be naive in my understanding. I don't want to be naive in my approach. So I'm open to the possibility that it's darker than that. but I've not drawn a conclusion that is darker than that, if that makes sense. I hope that answers your question satisfactorily. I'm trying. Baron, building from the Erika Evil Eyes episode. Everyone should watch George Janko, Charlie Kirk interview 1 year ago, minute 13 to 16, where he references disfigures caused from lying. I would love to see that because that would be interesting to me. From the Grumblers, amazing episode. Stand by all of it. So grateful to have a safe space for sanity. Asking all the important questions. Thank you for all the work you put in, Baron. Well, thank you, Pixie Dust to Ashes. Very kind of you. Very kind donation there and very kind words as well. What's that guy's name you said? George Janko? George Janko and, Charlie Kirk. Disfigurement caused by lying. Yeah, Gary for the Darwin Award. I think he deserves a Pulitzer. I mean, he's breaking news left and right. They're going to stop sending him stuff if he keeps doing it. Gary, we got to cut you off, brother. You're like an alcoholic, right? Yeah, you've proven yet again, Gary, you cannot be trusted with the booze. So we can't let you have any. You can't hang out here at the bar with us, Gary. I hope you do a deep dive into Stacey Sheridan. Ma'am, you think I haven't started that show already? You think I'm ignoring one of the major players here who made millions of dollars from TPUSA? No, man. Who might or might not have been in the limo, crazy limo woman, as another commenter at the last show said. History with Erika Kirk, history at TPUSA. Why on board? Shady finances. Huge history in fundraising. Fed, Philadelphia, Flintstone. I don't think she's on the current board, is she? Let me look. Is she on the current board? Goodness gracious. The donor page is the first thing that comes up. You guys haven't gotten enough money from us? Lord have mercy. Where's the board? I think it's just TPUSA/board. I don't have to find the. Nope, that's not it. I want to look because I don't think that's accurate that she's on the board. But I can't find it, so I'll worry about it later. Their website sucks, by the way. Whoever built that should be ashamed of themselves. You need an AI James Earl Jones voiceover that says throat coat for every time you cough. You know, I had one of these. I just finished it right before I went on before I came on air. Manuka honey drops. I really like them, and they do work. They keep my throat. I think I've told you guys before. I'm pretty severely asthmatic, and it breaks through this time of day. Like I'm all right in the mornings. By the time night rolls around, I'm coughing a lot. I can't help it. Especially when the heat's on. You guys are catching me in the winter. Stop hurting the children. Okay. I don't hurt kids. Oh, you talking to other people? Guys, patience. Lord have mercy, patience. Baron, loving your show. Remember when Charlie said they were hiding things to his left? A wife traditionally stands to the left of the husband. God bless you and your family. Christ is king. Christ is king indeed. Bullington Miranda. Yeah, I have heard that interpretation. I don't know if that's accurate. But I've heard that. Nima Baron IQ dose. Love you tons. Well, thank you. Very kind of you. Very, very kind of you. Text from donor. Charlie Kirk replaced God with G-D. Thoughts? I think it's foolishness when people do that, but whatever. I don't want to say you're foolish in the audience if you do it. It's foolish to me. I don't understand it because the Jewish people, when they replaced it before, like a long time ago, it's because of the way it was presented to them as this is the actual name of God. And it had a specific sound to it. If you're going to write it, we're not going to write it out. We're not going to even say it. I mean, it was that revered and that important. We say the word God all the time. We spell it out all the time. Like, don't let money be your God. Gods of the universe. That's not his proper name. You know, it's a title. It's an office. It's not like his name's Bill and you're doing B-LL. That would be appropriate. Like if I don't want to spell Bill, I don't want to say Bill, I'll just do B-LL and I'll call him LB, like say it backwards or something. Everyone will know what I'm talking about, but I don't have to utter the actual name of God. I don't have to spell the actual name of God. G-D doesn't make sense to me. That's not the actual name of God. That's not the name that they told us was given to Moses. So I don't get it. I just don't understand why they do that. Not they meaning Jews. I mean, talking about like anybody. Doesn't make sense to me. But again, if you want to do it that way, I don't care. I'm not going to do it that way, but by all means, I'm not bothered by it. I just don't get it. Maybe someone can make a good case for it. I was surprised to see Frank Turk is scheduled to be on Sean Atwood's show. Have you tried to get Turk on your program? I don't think Frank Turk would come on my program. Ladies and gentlemen, I can think of several programs Frank Turk probably wouldn't come on. Your humble host is on that list. You think Charlie figured out Erika was not who she said she was before he died? Yes, I do. This is the one question that keeps me up. No, I do. I think that's probably why he was sleeping in another room. I think that's probably why they were visiting priests together. I think that's probably why he was, having. Yes, I think so. From the Grumblers, Tyler Bowyer involved in allegations of a cover-up related to sexual assault by senior employee Matthew Martinez. I don't know anything about that. I mean, it very well could be true, but I don't know anything about it. Manuka Honey Drop Fund, great opener and deep dive. Thank you, M. Julesy. Appreciate that. That'll cover a box of Manuka Honey Drop. I think like $7. So thank you very much. Submitted a request for a refund of my Give, Send, Go donation to Erika I did back on September. Also disputed my TPUSA donation with my credit card company since I didn't get the hat. I only sport the truth. I heard about that. That was on the Wolves and Finance video. I think it would be interesting if hundreds of thousands of people were like, "Where's my hat?" and made us think about it. Don't make promises to people. If you tell them you're gonna give them a hat, great job on the camera. I can count the hairs on your beard. Oh, great. See, that's what I don't need. I need to go back to fuzzy. I'm gonna undo it. Love the show, Baron. Thank you for your work. Yeah, I'm gonna undo the high quality camera because I see every ounce of this 46-year-old face. In the days following Charlie Kirk passing, Erika did not look grieved. She looked relieved. Marriage was arranged, a business transaction that she was finally free from. TP takeover complete. That's one interpretation. I don't necessarily disagree with it, but I don't know. Just an opinion. New fan here. Just saw your episode 8 at 122.04. You zoom in on the table that was next to Charlie Kirk. There are black specks near the blood spatter. More plastic. That's my interpretation, but I don't show that picture anymore because YouTube's getting really weird about crime scene photos around Charlie Kirk. But I know the photo you're talking about. People can go look at that episode if they want to. And I agree with you. That is ABS plastic, shattered ABS plastic. Where is it? I've got those mics. I'll show you what I'm talking about. They're in my travel box over there. Maybe I'll get up in a minute and go get them. Baron, the hoodie is actually tongue crimson. Tongue crimson. Prove me wrong. It does kind of look like a tongue. I don't want to stick my tongue all the way out and gross everybody out. That's kind of funny. Yeah, it does. That's what it looked like one. Why don't you call your membership high IQ? Because they're the grand jury. That's why. You guys are high IQ. The whole outfit is high IQ. They are the grand jury. If you want to join the members page, I have an idea of where I'm going with it this week. It'll probably be on Thursday, if I had to guess, but it might be earlier in the week. It might be Tuesday. It'll be Tuesday or Thursday. I'll do a member show at some point this week. Have you ever heard of a Catholic radio host, Patrick Madrid? Of course I've heard of Patrick Madrid. The way you talk about religion, it reminds me of his cap and gown delivery. God bless. Patrick Madrid's great. I love Patrick Madrid. Absolutely heard of him. I don't think TPUSA will survive because they have too much to hide. Anyways, good luck with the storm. In Kansas yesterday, it was 0 degrees and felt like minus 14 at one point. Have another storm rolling in tonight. Well, hopefully it's not that cold here. It is 18 here right now. The overnight low looks to be 11. And then it will get as high as 20 tomorrow and then down to 6 tomorrow night. This is not what I bargained for. Nobody comes to Nashville for a gray day with a high of 20. That's not why people move here. The Chamber of Commerce would not approve. Erika Kirk went to see Chuck Grassley, a 33rd degree Freemason leader in the Senate, right as she got an IRS letter. No, she went to see Chuck Grassley this week. That IRS letter was 6 weeks ago. I'm in the pink slime hoodie gang. I'll pay you $4.99 every time you wear it. Well, thank you, Mr. or Ms. Swift. I will make a note of it. The pink slime hoodie gang. Not that bad, is it? What's it look like? It looks like, I think raw hamburger meat was the best description. That's the best description I heard. The hoodie color is fine. It actually looks much closer to crimson with the new lighting. Always look forward to your show. Thank you for what you do. So the new camera allowed me to reduce the lighting quite a bit. So the colors are getting a little better. I actually don't look I looked sick in the old lighting with the old camera. I would watch a replay. I was like, oh my gosh. I look like I have camera looks spectacular. Even my friends are commenting on the camera. All right, I'll allow it. Only Joes hate the hoodie color. The rest of us high IQ individuals can greatly appreciate a nice faded bead paste. You guys got to stop. I'm telling you, I'm embarrassed to wear this hoodie, and I actually is one of the more comfortable ones. I don't know. Some of them feel a little different than others. This one's super cozy, very warm. Did you ever see the Hunter video I YouTube for you about him slipping up saying Mike in the interview and then trying to cover it? I did, yeah. MIC, I think it was. Yeah, I saw it. Thank you, sassy cowgirl. Curious Joel saying we are overdue for a power outage. Don't you put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby. North Columbia escaped the worst. Already bored with the power on. Can't do no power. Harp has no power here. You rescued us from boredom. I'm doing my best. Apparently his name's Floyd Brown, not Frank Brown. Frank Brown was the name of the so when I was covering the liftable media guy, Floyd Brown, Frank Brown was the name of the recreation center, the city rec center in Auburn, Alabama. It's called the Frank Brown Rec Center. I bet you that's where that came in my head. I used to play basketball at the Frank Brown Rec over on Opelika Highway. Yes. I'm trying. Have not lost power, no. Baron, it's my fiance's birthday today. Can you wish him a happy birthday? He doesn't know I'm doing this, and I want to see his reaction. His name is Tyler. We met at IU. Tyler, how does it feel to be a national champion? Oh, and happy birthday. Faded crimson to you, sir. Go IU. Fight for the glory of old IU. Happy birthday, Tyler. And what a great place to meet somebody. Indiana University. That'd be amazing. Share the show. Don't be a Joe. You better hit that like button or Baron will give you something to cry about. A knuckle sandwich without large gold rings and cold sparks. We need 2 50-cent style boycott. I didn't get all that. I don't understand all that, Dom. I'm not as hip as some people, obviously. Okay, yeah, hit the like button. Don't. I'm trying to make sense of that last sentence. The knuckle sandwich and the rings and all that. Happy snowy Sunday from North Carolina. Off topic. I'm reading the Bible through again and wonder if you have a favorite book of the Bible or verse. Yeah, John is my favorite book of the Bible, and I don't think it's close. It's a mystics book. I love it. And on that note, I would say the Bread of Life Discourse, the end of John 6. Let me find it. John 6. It's the end of John 6. So I would start around John 6:22 to the end. That's my favorite part of the Bible. John 6:22 to the end. The bread of life discourse. It's amazing, by the way. He tells people, you have to eat my flesh or you will not inherit eternal life. You'll not abide in me. And they say, oh, that's weird. And they walk off. He doesn't stop them. He doesn't say, oh. I was just kidding. You don't really have to. He's like, see ya. See ya. Congratulations. We now have a high IQ camera outfit. Nothing but the best for the jury pool. I'm telling you guys, what am I going to leave you hanging? I'm going to be fuzzy forever. It's not Trigger Smart's fault it took me this long to follow his directions. I was not going to sacrifice the content of the program. But yesterday, I had quite a bit of time off. I actually did quite a few things in here yesterday. I had quite a bit of time off yesterday and was able to get to it. I did have to shovel the driveway today. I thought that was going to be like a 15-minute side project. It was over an hour. It was cold. It was raining on me the entire time, that little spit freezing rain. And it turned into slush. The temperature was above 32. The snow had stopped and it turned into this freezing rain bit. And I wanted to get this driveway clear before it dropped down to 11 tonight and froze solid. I didn't want to go skating on it tomorrow. That took forever. Mrs. Coleman was out there helping me. Her hands were burning when we got done. I felt terrible for her. At one point, all right, so this is how I shovel the driveway. At one point, I went inside and got oven mitts. I don't have winter gear. Like, I was in a hoodie. 33 degrees, raining, frozen rain on me, and I'm out there in a hoodie. But my hands were burning, and it was a metal shovel, and it was just killing me. And so I went and got oven mitts. Oh, I could have shoveled all day once I got the oven mitts. And she came in, and she was like, my hands are down. I was like, oh, you should have gotten oven mitts. We had extra. Baron, you look great. I don't have my glasses on. I've been running a fever all afternoon. Can't miss your show. Alley-oop, I hope you get to feeling better. At the Coleman household, we don't break fevers. We let them go. The Lord will not let your fever get too high in all likelihood. That's a big if. But yeah, probably won't let your fever get too high unless your brain's broken, of course. If your brain's broken, you'll need something to reduce that fever. Other than that, let it run. That is your body's way of manufacturing the things that make you healthy. That's not medical advice. I can confirm it is not bean paste. Thank you. 100% agree it's the best hoodie. See, Van Allen Radiation Belt is on board. Twinning. Glad to see you still have power. Hope you aren't buried in snow. We didn't get a ton of snow. We got a lot of ice. Everything in the town is ice. Let me show you this. I think it was Clay Travis on X. He had a video from around here. He lives near here. I saw him at Perry's one night, and he was holding court. Where they prop their feet up on the chair next to him, and everybody's sitting around listening. No, I'm just kidding. He was perfectly normal, and I didn't know he lived around here, so I saw that. Let me see. Why is Twitter so slow tonight? Is everybody else having trouble with Twitter? Every time I've gotten on it, or X, I can't call it X. It's dumb. As soon as I say that, I'll get banned. I shouldn't say that. X is amazing. What a perfect name for a platform. Watch this. Watch this. This is nuts. This is what it looks like around here. You're going to love this. Thank you, Van Allen Radiation Belt, for the generous donation. This is what it looks like around here. We got ice, and the ice took down the trees. This is why there's so much power loss. This is why I did not put a notice up until an hour before the show, because I didn't want to put a notice up at 1 and then lose power and not be able to tell you I wasn't going to be live. Look at this. It's nuts around here. That's why I wanted to shovel the driveway, though. I wanted all that ice off my driveway before. That's not my neighborhood, by the way. Don't go looking for me in West Haven. You won't find me. But that's an exemplar of what the neighborhoods look like around here. I'm not going to stop the opening statements. I love how you're teaching us to think critically and historically. I'm learning so much. I'm not going to stop them. I've got a bunch of things I want to talk about on those opening statements. Some shows, as you notice, have longer ones than others. Tonight's was pretty long. I think it was 1,950 words. I try to keep them under 1,500, but sometimes I just keep vomiting words and they get longer. I had one that was close to 3,000 words. That was almost a 25-minute opening. I don't know if I'll do that very often. That took forever to write. It was like an 8-hour writing job. But no, I enjoy the opening. I enjoy writing the opening statements, and I enjoy giving the opening statements. I wish I'd read better from a teleprompter or a screen. I have a little teleprompter app, but I don't use it. What the hell was George Webb talking about today, mentioning Joe? I find him on. I didn't watch George Webb today. I don't know what he mentioned. I don't dislike George. I just don't. I mean, I can only watch so many people, you know? Yes. I'm going to give book recommendations. I actually was working on it today. I've got 4 or 5 books already on it. I think I'm going to do 10 and then maybe a subsequent 10 later. But I got 10 I'm going to do. Now, here's the thing. They're not all nonfiction. They're not all fiction. Some of them I don't agree with, but I think they're important reads. I have one on there in particular that I think is a critically important read. And I used to love the guy. I've kind of changed my mind a little bit on him as I've grown. And, you know, I saw somebody on Twitter blasting me for something I said like in 2013 or 14 that they tracked down. And I thought, do you hold the same positions on every single subject 12 years later? You don't grow and evolve on anything? I think anyone who has not changed a single position since 2013 is intellectually bankrupt. I believe that. I don't care. I mean, just pick something. You don't like peonies anymore. Whatever. You used to be a big fan of pastrami and now you prefer corned beef. I don't care what it is, but pick something and change your mind occasionally. I question your a commitment to the intellectual endeavor if you don't change your mind on anything. That's ludicrous. Highly recommend the book A Witness by Whitaker Chambers. Extremely interesting and informative. Duly noted. Boom. Video dialed in. I can see through your hair. I can't see through your hair anymore. You must have also fixed the lighting too. No, my hair just got longer. So here's the dirty little secret. I can't stand paying for a haircut. Hate paying for a haircut. I don't care if I made $1 million a year. I would not want to go pay to get a haircut. And I don't. So I hate it even more. But I've broken down and decided I got to get haircuts from professionals because now you guys see me regularly. And but you remember the hat phase? I'm going to go back to it. I'll bring the hat back. But I had the hats because I had to shave my head. Because I screwed up my own haircut. And I was like, never again. We're not doing our own haircuts anymore. Because what I used to do is let it get to about this long and then shave it. Let it get to about this long and shave it. But that's too weird. It needs to, needs some kind of consistency. Otherwise, you'll be able to tell, like, now he's going through his short hair phase. Oh, now he's going through his long hair phase. So I'm working on it. But that's why. Because when my hair gets longer, you can't see my scalp anymore. It's not vain. It's just, whatever. It's like the guy who works from home and works in his underwear, but you don't go to Taco Bell in your underwear. You don't go, if you work out of the home, you don't go in your underwear. Canuck Bucks, 29 degrees below Celsius. What's that in American units? 20 below. Sending prayers. Everyone experienced the storm is safe. Truth seems to ring louder nowadays. Wonder what shifted. Your show. Above all, Crisis King. Crisis King, indeed. I hope this show has some ability to affect the conversation and help lean it towards truth. Book recommendations: JFK, the CIA, Vietnam, and the plot to assassinate John F. Kennedy. Yeah, you guys are good on these books things. That's good. Beef tartare? Really? What? I mean, raw hamburger meat. I mean, we've kind of diagnosed that already. Love your opening statements and your search for the truth. God bless you. Big fan of the hoodie color. Barrenberry hoodie. Barrenberry hoodie. That sounds delicious. Sounds amazing. My mom and I usually watch you together, but we're snowed in, and it's her birthday today. Please give Diane a shout out on her birthday. We love your work. Happy birthday, Diane. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Thank you. I appreciate your affirmation there, Slim. Baron, shirt color is frijoles picantes. I love it. Also, I've been hearing the Trump is suing J.P. Morgan Bank and Associates for $5 billion. What do you think? I haven't heard about it. I have to look at it. You clapped. Wow. Thank you. That means a lot to me. I just got on my fiance's nerves watching you, Candace, Ian, and Coach Colin all the time. Oh, watching you, Candace, Ian, and Coach Colin all the time. But I'm so hooked, and I know you guys are going to uncover the truth. I know it. You guys are the truth. I love y'all. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but Coach Colin's now live at 9 a.m. Central Time, 10 a.m. Eastern. I don't know what time that is out there for you people that live west of the Rockies. What's that, 7? That's early. That's an early coach. Watch him. He's great. He's great live. A lot of people can't make that transition from video to live. He does it well. Interesting movie on termination, The Parallax View with Warren Beatty. Gary doing more for the cause unintentionally than anyone. Poor Gary. Gary. We're with you, brother. The CIA is filled with communists who want to overthrow the U.S. government. If they cannot kill Trump, they will go after people who are near him, like Charlie Kirk. And here's my thought on that. I think there's an internal war within the FBI, 2 or 3 different factions. I think there's an internal war in the CIA, 2 or 3 different factions. I think the NSA and the CIA are natural enemies. And the unfortunate reality is we bear the brunt of that. That's the unfortunate reality. We bear the brunt of their internal battles because it plays out in the public and we don't even know what's happening. So I think you're onto something there. 50 Cent bought out the first 4 rows at a Ja Rule concert just to leave it empty. I met no response, no attention, and unfollow those with ill intent. Gold rings and cold sparks equal Erika Kirk. Okay, that makes sense. I don't give it up. I like how you comment on this platform and then comment on this platform to follow up. That is YouTube and Grumble. They got them both covered. So thank you. Dom's a great listener. Dom's a fantastic listener. Baron, 15-year Ditto head here. I think Hold Please should be the new Ditto. You are absolutely his equal. You are my first ever YouTube subscription. Hold Please. As high a regard as I held Rush Limbaugh, that's almost, like, it almost feels blasphemous. You know, like Jesus, when he was like, you guys will go on to do greater things than I did. He said that, not me. I didn't say that. It feels blasphemous when you read it. You're like, come on, hey, ho. You're God. Calm down. I'm just me. But no, I mean, he said it. So thank you. Very generous donation. Thank you, Trotter Gene. Another generous donation here. Jess Happy. Thank you. Who needs Joe when you got Gary? You guys are funny. I have a naturally funny audience. You're hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. Love the opening statement. You need a mint hoodie. Ooh. I ordered an Indiana National Championship hoodie. Scratch that. I ordered 2. Dang it. I shouldn't have said that. I ordered 2 National Championship hoodies. It was like buy one, get one 50% off, you know? So I'll be wearing that. Oh, should I say it? Quick follow-up. Someone got in touch with me and said that they could help me on the merch side. And I'm like, I'm not ready for the merch side. And they're like, hey, it's a local guy. He's got an Adidas contract. I said, what? You can put my stuff on Adidas hoodies? I'm following it up, ladies and gentlemen. I make no promises, but I am following it up. Baron, thank you for the levity, laughter, and logic against lunacy. Ooh, thank you for the alliteration. You bring to every episode. You inspire with an affable approach and have and the assonance You have created an amazing high IQ community here. Blessings to you. I'll say this. The community here is unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Like moving at breakneck speed. Scott Bessett answered the thing at breakneck speed. Only this community could come up with that. No one else is going to say that. So thank you. You guys are amazing. You guys are absolutely amazing. I stand by my previous assertion. Trump authorized the assassination of Charlie Kirk. Your opinion. And now I assert Trump is complicit in the cover-up. Also your opinion. I've not concluded that yet. Both Erika and JD Vance were in New York on December 3rd. The whole state or like at the same event? This is great. See, you guys all come up with the same stuff. IRS is working at breakneck speed. Only this audience would come up with that. We want you on Jimmy Dore. He showed a clip of you. I saw that, and I did not intend to see it. I was just clicking through Jimmy Dore clips because I watch 2 or 3 a day, and I saw my face. I was like, "Hey, I know that guy." And unfortunately, he gave me the Candace Potbelly chair look. You know, I was sitting, had to sit funny there. I kid. I'm not vain. I really don't care. Not that Joe. Oh, you're not that Joe. You're making me question whether or not to change my handle. Thank you for all the facts and opinions. Joe, do not change your handle. We know you. We know you. You're a cut above. You're not Joe. You're JoJo. JoJo. So thank you. Thank you, JoJo. Very generous donation. Thank you. I want to explain this. Who in the right mind sends a letter that IRS asks them if they're under investigation? Someone who intends to use the letter back as evidence in a lawsuit against someone who said they might be under investigation. That's who. That's it. I mean, that's who. Freedom's just another word for nothing left to lose. You're a Chris Christopherson fan? Or who's the girl that covered it? Janis Joplin? I watched Wolves in Finance today. He is meticulous in his delivery, almost like a computer, so easy to understand. Everything is in perfect order. Will be interesting to see how this plays out for him and TPUSA. He also has big onions because in the face of the letter he received, he's like, "Oh, and I'm going to drop an elbow over the top rope." I mean, he didn't care. Went right after him. Is Wolves controlled opposition? He thinks Israel is involved, but maybe that's just his opinion. I mean, that doesn't make him necessarily. I mean, a lot of people don't know if they're involved. So I doubt it. But, anything's possible. Made it in from shoveling just in time. We didn't get it hit too bad in the Detroit area. No way and missing Barron Live. Thank you for bringing us all together. I truly feel part of a group community. You're very special. Yeah, the community here is incredible. Absolutely incredible. Don't burn the hoodie. I love that color. I'll gladly take it off your hands. I can email my address. No, I'm going to keep the hoodie. Y'all, you haters are just going to have to put up with the raw meat hoodie every now and then. I haven't worn it since January 2nd. I think that's the first time I wore it. I mean, the last time I wore it. So it's been 24 days. Come on, guys. Give me a break. I'm doing my best here. I believe controlling the narrative failed due to roughly 50% of the population celebrating, dismissing the brutal assassination of an American icon, leading those with common sense to have the extreme opposite and equal reaction. Christ is king. Christ is king indeed. Thank you. Very generous donation, Mary. I think you're right. I think the left gave us cover. The far left. Not just like your mainstream left typically, I don't think, celebrates political assassinations of right-wing figures, but the far left did, and they provided tremendous cover because, and I hate to say that, but it allowed the investigation to continue in a perverse, sick, and weird way. Lee Oswald mailed a money order before 10:30 a.m. in Dallas for a mail-order gun in 1963 and was processed the next day at Klein Sporting Goods in Chicago. An IRS response within 24 hours seems reasonable. I didn't know that. That's great. Salmon hoodie. No, this is not salmon. If it is, it's sick. If it's spoiled salmon, I wouldn't eat it if it looked like this. And Gary's blink rate is best described by frames per second. Yeah, Gary has to be very careful on what FPS he chooses. If how sometimes the FPS will match a helicopter's spin perfectly and it'll look like it's not moving when it lands. Or same thing with wheels, like the FPS will match the wheels perfectly and they look like they're stationary as they're driving down the road. Gary could get stuck like this if you had just the right frame rate. He would be talking, but his eyes would be just like this because his blink rate would match the FPS precisely. I mean, like 30 per second. Wow. I didn't know this. Scott Besson also in New York on December 3rd. Wow. Interesting. Sorry if you covered this previously, but what was your take on the significance of the necklace? Lots of weird surrounding it. Love your show, Baron. My personal take on the necklace, I was told by Erika Kirk he never took it off. And then I was told by Erika Kirk that he left it in the bathroom overnight the night before and he had to come into the bedroom to get it because he didn't sleep in the bed with her that night. So, and then I was told by Frank Turek and others that she was frantically looking for it after the Big Bang, after she arrived on the scene. And then I was told by Frank Turek he mysteriously and magically found it laying in between two seats over a bag. There was so much focus on that necklace. I just have to believe, in my opinion, in my heart of hearts, that it is somehow related in a way that they're trying to gloss over. So I think it's relevant. I think it's relevant. With the NCAA season over, I can now feel confident. Entrancist, this is a high IQ outfit. There, thank you for the good work. You're welcome. I don't know what all that meant, but thank you. That color is now officially Tyler Robinson UVU. I don't know what that means. Let me see here. I got to move a little bit. We're almost at 2 hours and 10 minutes, and I'm not even halfway through these. Baron, great catch on the letter. You just keep raising the high IQ to a whole new high IQ outfit to a whole new level every podcast. You are the high IQ outfit king, and Christ is our king. Stay blessed, brother. Christ is king indeed. I just noticed it. The 1 day turnaround. That's a setup. Secretary of the Treasury does not directly respond to IRS inquiries. That's been my experience. Not on the phone, not by letter. I've done both. And, one time I sent a letter. This would have been early 2015. We sent a letter to the IRS on a question on the tax return. We had to file the taxes on the September 15th extension without having our question answered and put a letter with the tax return saying, we don't know the answer. We assume. So our letter came like 2 years later. And that's pretty typical for an IRS return on a letter. Like it was 2017 when we got the answer. Then we had to go back and, refile from before and all that. I mean, that's the way the IRS typically works. So EK, Vance, and Besson all in New York City on December 3rd. Oh, and she sent a letter that he responded to the same day. Amazing. What was she doing up there? How do we know she was up there? Let me look at something real quick. N102 DZ. Was she in her Gulfstream 5? Is that how we know she was there? December 3rd, you say? Yeah, White Plains, New York. How about that? Interesting. I was not aware. Do we know what they were doing up there? Does anyone know? You grumblers know? No, they're talking about figs. I have no idea what's going on in the grumble chat. Emu eggs? I mean, guys, come on. We're trying to have a high IQ discussion over here. Gotta catch them all. 90s baby here. But Tyler Bowyer and his photo remind me of Rattata Pokemon. Not very unique. It's incredibly weak Pokemon and very easy to catch. I hope OT was paid properly. 80 to 90 hours and W2 overtime. 80 to 90 hours and W2 tax. I don't know what all that means either. When I thank you, Dom. Very kind of you, though. When I renew my Maryland license in North Carolina and my MD license in North Carolina, the form has me certify that I've read, understand the public notice statement regarding employee misclassification. Also asks if there's been an investigation. Interesting. Baron, I finally got to watch you live. Please never change this high IQ outfit. Thank you so much for what you're doing. Appreciate you so much. Happy Australia Day. Is it Australia Day? What does that mean? You guys didn't declare independence. What is Australia Day about? Australia Day 2026. Australia Day is the official national day of Australia. Observed annually on 26 January, marks the 1788 landing of the first fleet and raising of the Union flag of Great Britain by Arthur Phillip at Sydney Cove. You guys need to just declare freedom. Just be done with those Brits. No offense to the Brits in the audience, of course. No offense to the Brits. What's your thoughts on EK mom and dad being on the board? Being on what board? Seems so. I don't think her dad's on the board of anything. Why were they so involved? What year were they added to the board? Does this coincide with when the company was being infiltrated? Bad cop, please. I don't know that Lori or Eric I can't remember her dad's name. I don't think either of the Franz Vays are on the TPUSA board. Are they? I'm pretty sure they're not. I can't answer that because I don't think I reject the premise. End of year is June 30th. 990 would not be May. It might be if they file an extension. Maybe that's what they're talking about. Do a live stream with Wolves in Finance, please. Oh, are you signing up to be the producer and director and executive producer of the podcast? You're telling me who to do shows with? I like Wolves in Finance. Would not be opposed to talking through some finances with Wolves. Did you see the photos from Alley Top Files appearing to show that there was an AstroTurf under the stage? Could they have done that to catch all the plastic bits? Just roll up the evidence afterwards. I have seen those photos. I don't know. I know what photos you're talking about because it looks like the cords go under the grass. But I don't know if that's just large grass that they. I don't know. I've not dug into that. I'll have to dig in deeper. I know I have Allie's number. I can text her and ask her about it. Tyler Boyer's pick. I love only Baron. Yeah, I'm trying over here. I'm trying. Baron, so was Fort Huachuca a dead end? No. Feels like everyone just kind of quit talking about it. Did you guys miss the part where she stopped trying to produce an alibi when she realized there were pictures? You guys missed that? Totally missed that? And assume there's nothing else going on behind the scenes? Let it play out. Let it play out. We'll get there. From the Grumblers, emu, eggs, and all. We are high IQ with the program. We Grumblers love you. I love you, Grumblers. I just wasn't now duck eggs are superior baking, inferior to chicken for breakfast. I mean, I just don't know what's going on over there. I have no idea what you guys are talking about. That's the only part. That's the only problem. Could Charlie Kirk's parents be Candace's source? Could be. I don't think so. Could be. Maybe. Awesome shows, Baron. Thank you for shouting out Coach Colin. JK, haha, we're a high IQ op. Coach Colin. Thanks for all the awesome folks in the chats, too, shouting out those who make trustworthy content. Grateful that logic prevails. Yeah, I'm grateful logic prevails, and I'm happy to shout out people when they deserve it. A HR professional here. COOs are full-time employees, not independent contractors. Also, Turning Point doesn't list an HR exec on their website. Shocker. That doesn't mean they don't have one. That means they just don't list it on the website. But I agree. I mean, the idea that he's not an employee of Turning Point, it's laughable to me. It's absolutely laughable. The idea that you would list him as an independent contractor, to me, my opinion, totally nonsensical. Totally nonsensical. How do we get TPUSA in the trouble they deserve? I feel like these people are invincible. They just pay their way through the crime. Well, it's going to take some effort. You know, I'm not here to tear down TPUSA. I'm here to develop truth. And the consequences of truth sometimes result in people being held accountable. I first discovered you on Candace and have been binge watching you ever since. Thank you for all the work you do to provide amazing content. Your upbeat delivery and confidence behind the mic is addictive. Well, thank you. Well, and you know addiction. You are, in fact, a coffee-addicted mama bear. So you get it. You get it. Confidence behind the mic. I'm confident in what I have to say. I'm comfortable behind a mic. I've probably done 10,000 hours or more behind a mic. So I'm comfortable behind a mic. I don't even consider there's a mic here. And that's why I tell people people ask, what's your advice to get started on podcasts? Just start doing shows. Get to where you don't even know you're on camera or on a mic. Just start talking. Blah, 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 blah. Do a show every day if you have to. Do 30 minutes, do an hour, do 2 hours. Just learn to talk. Most people think they can talk. And because they have a 5-minute routine they can run through, right? But if you put them on air and say, now start talking for 3 hours every day, 3, 4, 5 days a week, do it 52 weeks a year. Now do it for 10 years. They can't do it. They can't do it. Congratulations. Molly Spies found out I'm pregnant, meaning that in September, I will have a high IQ outfit infant who already have more logic than Joe. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Take care of that baby. Take care of that baby, Molly. Is that your first? You don't pay to tell me. I'll just assume it's your first. Welcome to motherhood. You're going to love it. You're absolutely going to love it. Yeah, now we know why they sent the cease and desist letter. I agree. AI. All. Post this link to the Viva Fry podcast with Barnes. Long-time listener, first-time commenter, if you can say specifically, who do you think took out JFK and Charlie Kirk? End of Innocence podcast. 2, is there actually an Erika Kirk pick at Fort Huachuca? Yes or no? Let me take those in order. Who took out JFK? I think Lyndon Johnson ordered it. Or certainly was in on it. I'm going to have Roger Stone on. I've been in contact with their people over there, and he's expressed interest in coming on because he knows we've talked about his book on the JFK assassination, and he loves talking about it. And I figured we need to do like a 30 or 45-minute interview, like just have him talk through the book, have him talk through the JFK thing. His case is very compelling, very compelling. So that will be coming up. I'm not sure when, next week sometime. Is there an Erika Kirk pick at Fort Huachuca? Guys, patience. Please. Baron, second super chat. Angel, thank you. Erika was a Trojan horse, no doubt in my mind. I feel for Charlie and his family. I hate this, but I don't disagree with you. I hate it. Opening statement. You have single-handedly opened my eyes to the importance of U.S. history and how critical it is we don't repeat the same mistakes. Yeah, that's kind of why I'm doing a lot of these history ones. What was it? People say history doesn't repeat itself, but it rhymes. History's rhyming a lot lately. Charlie said Trump wasn't elected. If Trump wasn't elected, he would be in jail because Biden DOJ was investigating TPUSA. I have not seen that. Where did he say that? I would love to tell you my demon attachment. My daughter for 5 years. I know all about demons. I had 92 something in my home as proof to you. Help, my story is insane. You need to get in touch with your diocesan exorcist. I'm not sure where you live, but every diocese I think has an exorcist, and you need to get in touch. They'll do an assessment. They'll determine whether they believe there's actually a demonic influence, and then they can do a series of meetings where they will try to free this. Demons attach for specific reasons. You have to remove that attachment. You have to remove that reason for the attachment. In other words, you have to revoke the rights that have been granted to that demon, either to the house or to you or to your daughter. I take this stuff very seriously. And don't play around with it. Boyer's role on Superfeed board is unpaid volunteer capacity, indicating that though he is involved with both organizations, he doesn't receive direct financial compensation for his work with Superfeed. Well, that's good information. I mean, it's good information. I don't know that it changes my analysis on a potential conflict of interest. For example, and you'd have to know more about it than that, but some people receive stock options when they join a board. Some people receive some sort of delayed pecuniary incentive. So I have no idea what the terms of his compensation are. If it's purely voluntary, I still don't know that it changes my analysis, but it would weigh in. It would be a factor. Thank you for that. If that's true, thank you for letting me know. Message from someone. Easter Day Kyle. Worked 10 years at the IRS. If the letter was congressional connected, it was sped up. I had one case. Special units took care of my phone. Won't let me do a super chat. So if someone can tell Barron. I heard it. I read every word of it. I read every word of it. Thank you. From the Grumblers, Barron, you are saying there's a career for those of us who say excessive talking on our report cards. I meant employer requirements of overtime hours, exempt or not, those they fired in proper taxes. Yes, there's a career for us. I was among those people. I just wanted to give you a tip. Thanks for all you do. Well, thank you. Very kind of you. A very kind donation. Good evening, Baron Von Hoodie. Can we do some amateur Hebrew gematria? Trump is the 45th and 47th president. 44 plus 5 is 9. 4 plus 7 is 11, making Trump the 9/11 president. Big fan. But don't you have to reduce that to single digits? So wouldn't he be the 92 president? And then 9 plus 2 is 11. 1 plus 1 is 2. He'd be the 2 president? I'm not sure how all that works. I'm not versed in numerology. I don't think Candace would cover for Charlie Kirk hurting kids or anything. I don't either. 0% chance that would happen. But if you gauged her willingness to expose something damaging to Charlie, it's so dark at TPUA, it's fair to imagine some guilt by Charlie Kirk, and I fear that. I don't know how I would gauge that. I've talked to her about my theories, some of which touch on Charlie potentially having considerable knowledge. Not going to betray a private conversation, obviously, but I have raised that issue. I'm confident she wouldn't cover for anybody hurting a kid, like anybody. But I fear that as well. I have deep fears that there was some darkness there. I'm not saying there was. I hope there wasn't. Install TPUSA app, open, click the right-hand menu, click privacy policy. What is TPUSA taking? Redirects to the site, no privacy policy. It's a generic mission statement, potentially illegal, ask AI. I don't know that I'd ask AI for legal advice. But that's interesting. If you're taking data, you have to have a privacy policy. Potentially steep criminal penalties if it's in violation of GDPR and people over there are downloading it. I mean, the GDPR doesn't play. I wonder how many other independent journalists are affiliated with Superfeed people. We can get to the bottom of it. Like, I can look around. Have you seen Coach Collins' video about Greg Locke and his ex-podcast about Candace? He's more unhinged than the Zio lady. I've not seen that. Greg Locke is unhinged. Was that today? I started to watch one today, and then I got sidetracked. Colvette on Daily Caller article about TPUSA biggest challenge dated 12/23 states Charlie Kirk decided to leave Salem Radio before he passed. I wonder if that's true or not, or if he really left Salem altogether. Anyway, that's the Wayback Machine. That's interesting. I have not seen that. Andrew Colvette, Daily Caller, Charlie Kirk, Salem. See if that. Oh, I obviously have seen it because it's purple on my links. And we know what that means. Thank you for that generous donation and the tip. I will be reading about that. Loonbag. Yes. I miss George Carlin. He was so funny, beyond accurate on a government's hypocrisy. Glad I am not rich and miserable on the inside with some handler. Right is right and wrong is wrong. I couldn't agree more. Did you see the X post from Pastor Greg Locke to Candace Owens? Sounds a lot like that text to Charlie Kirk. I did, but I don't think he's the one that sent the text. That dude's nuts. Erika Kirk might not be for Vance 2028 after Usha's pregnancy announcement. That's funny. I could see Usha pushing that issue. I mean, I'm not saying she did, but I could see it. Stop taking the pill for a few weeks. I'll show her. not to grab my husband's hair when he's hugging. I don't know if that's what happened, but I mean, wouldn't be shocking. This must just be Tyler Bowyer's MO, considering he was pardoned for election-related stuff. Career crook. That's your opinion. I'm not calling him a crook. I've not made that at all. I've not made that statement at all. I think he's engaged, in my opinion, engaged in some awfully shady activity, but I'm not calling him a crook. Partially because it's actionable. Blind expat from Guatemala here. We don't need facial expressions. We read voices. Can easily tell if someone's lying. Love your giggle. Oh, bonfire. How did someone must have punched that in for you? Or do you voice text or something? How did you do that? I'm fascinated by blind people. Y'all know that this is my favorite conspiracy. Stevie Wonder's not blind. You guys knew that, right? Thank you for the compliment as well. I want to ask about the original issue with the narrative. Many of us remember it was a 30-06, but it was not on 9/9. A book was published, Amazon, titled The Shooting at Charlie Kirk, leading me to believe this was always supposed to be an op, confuse people, and create division. Thank you first for that very generous donation, Lambo Georgie. I guess if you can afford a Lambo, you can afford generous donation. Or maybe you can't because you got too much Lambo in the garage. I don't know about that book. I read somewhere that there's a way that you can kind of post a predate or antedate or whatever publications by a couple days on Amazon, or that you could publish something and then change the contents of it later, so you keep the published date, but the contents are totally different. So I'd have to really look into that. I don't know that that's as nefarious as people think, but if there truly was a book and if it truly was published on 9/9, that's devastating. I mean, devastating. But I don't know that that's true. I don't know that that's true. Great show as always. First super chat. Thank you, Sweetwater Cats. Thanks for sharing your opinions with us. You're teaching me so much. You guys teach me so much. I learned so much from these comments. So much. Edge, this is pervasive. Why can't the IRS step in? TPUSA needs a long ice water enema. I can't imagine how terrible that would be. Like all the things you could wish on somebody, that would be horrible. If you could give Erika sodium, is that supposed to say pentothal, and ask her one question that she had to answer truthfully, what would you ask her? Oh, man, you're putting me on the spot. I genuinely want to know if she knew in advance of the Charlie Kirk neutralization that he was going down. So that's one thing. That's probably the overarching question I would ask, because that implicates so much. Because I don't believe if there was here's my thing. If there was a plan to take him out and it was more than Tyler Robinson, which I'm pretty sure, I mean, in my opinion, the facts just seem to point that way. If that's true, I can't imagine a scenario where she wasn't involved or knew about it. And so that would probably be my question. Were you aware prior to Charlie Kirk taking the stage at UVU that he was not going to survive, or that there was going to be an attempt on his life? Gosh, that's dark. That's dark. If you're going to be a Joe, be a Joe McCarthy. Amen. Amen. Thank you, Chuck. Very kind of you. It's Spicy Sundays with Baron. I am shocked at how deep everything goes. I was going to have a quiet night reading my new book, Rome Sweet Home and the Man Who Killed Kennedy, but you're just too enthralling. Thanks. You can read the books after the show. You can read the book. I mean, you can read the so The Man Who Killed Kennedy, that was the Roger Stone book. I'm going to have him on to talk about that. I'm so fascinated by the Kennedys, and I see so many parallels between the Kennedy assassination and what happened to Charlie Kirk. So many parallels that I think it would be podcast malpractice if Roger Stone's willing to come talk about it, to not have him. It'd be malpractice. So, that's the one I just read. And Rome Sweet Home, that's one of my favorite books of all time. That's on the reading list. Nice white pill message tonight. Thanks, Baron. I do my best. I had heard at the beginning of all this that Charlie cried the night Trump got elected, that TPUSA was being investigated by the Biden administration. He knew the investigation would go away. Is that why he cried? I thought he cried just because he was happy Trump won. I got to look into that. Charlie Kirk crying because Trump win meant end of investigation. Yeah, I'd have to really dig into that. Request an official EK lies list after the TPUSA lies list. P.S. Still pushing for someone to push Erika Kirk to explain how Mikey called her within seconds. Yeah, that's a real issue because when they put out the official timeline of calls Mikey McCoy gave, it wasn't seconds. It was several minutes. And it was after he called his wife. So he waited a couple minutes, called his wife, waited a couple minutes, called Erika. But she says she looks down at 11:23, which was what time it was in Arizona, and Mikey McCoy's calling. Those two timelines don't add up. Somebody's lying. Somebody's mistaken. Somebody's wrong. It's not accurate. If my understanding of those facts are true, that's not accurate. Ivan, so much more on Zach's video. Back wall, top center, for the love of money. And wait, there's more. Christ is absolutely king. How much snow did you get? Christ is king indeed. I think we only got a few inches. It was the ice that was the problem. Let me see. Does it say? Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot more on Zach's video. I encourage you guys to go watch it. I didn't want to do a whole video review. I had too much to cover tonight. I covered the one thing that I really wanted to talk about. But the Wilson Finance video today was great. I didn't necessarily agree with him on the Trump handwriting on the letter, though. Maybe he's right about that. If you don't know what I'm talking about, watch his video. It's pretty early on, like the first few minutes. I did not necessarily agree with that. But, you know. Are you going to share the parody video of you on Joe from our music media from 3 days ago? I think I put it on my X feed. You guys can go watch it there. That seems a little vain to play it, a video about me on my own show. Hey, guys, watch what people are doing about me. That seems a little vain. But I did put it on X so that I could refer people there when they asked about it. New here, enjoy your shows. New here, enjoy your audience. Thank you for joining us. Has Wolves and Finance reached out for advice? Can give you a birthday shout out? Can you give a birthday shout out to Livy and Peyton, who are snowed in? Love your show. They must be twins, Livy and Peyton. Named after the greatest quarterback of all time, was he? Peyton Manning? Is that who he's named after? You and Candace have brought me closer to the church over the last few months and reading the Bible again. Also got the hoodie. Thanks again, Baron. You're welcome. And the hoodie is not nearly as important as the getting back closer to the church again. So congratulations to you, sir. Your life will be fundamentally improved. Your eternity will be fundamentally improved. I can assure you the corruption at TPUSA was far worse than the color of your sweatshirt. Really? Going that route with the color of my sweatshirt? It's that bad? It's comparable to the corruption at TPUSA? The alleged corruption at TPUSA? Hey, Baron, YouTube served me a 10-year-old video of you the other day when I was listening on autoplay. I heard your voice, looked up, and barely recognized you. Enjoy the show. Yeah, that was fat alcoholic face, Baron. That was a heavy drinking era, Baron. I don't know if it was 10 years ago. I don't know what video you saw, but I had somebody on Facebook there was wish I could remember the woman's name. Give her a shout out. I know where I can find it. But her name is Cheryl Marie on Facebook. I had somebody in the comments on Cheryl Marie's Facebook. My sister sent it to me. Apparently she follows her. And I was reading through the comments and somebody's like, this guy came out of nowhere. You only been broadcasting for 4 months. I'm like, dude, I've been on the air for 15 years. Stop. Stop it. And then I said that to him and he was like, well, prove it. I was like, I'm not your Google. I win. Google me. That's a shout out to the greatest college coach of all time, Coach Signetti. I believe I found your channel for a massive reason, saying my prayers last night, and I just broke down, tears everywhere, and finally accepted him. I truly repented and asked for clarity. I'm just sad. Sarah, I am genuinely speechless. Genuinely speechless. We all should have that experience on a regular basis. That's what we Catholics call confession. And it's good. Examination of conscience on a regular basis. Sarah, congratulations. Congratulations. Man, I tell you, I get chills when you guys say stuff like that. Just goes through my whole body. Hey, Baron, I've been watching live since your second Google Trends show. You have shared a ton of great info since then. Some of the greatest was your timeline from 2 shows ago. Devastating. I've seen no comments on it. The timeline's getting better. We're adding stuff to it constantly, and it's going to be really, really good. That's going to be a really good timeline. Thank you for your continued support. You must have been here from like when there were a couple hundred people watching. Baron, my mom loves your lives. Her name is Cindy Yates. She's a member, and we're also from Tennessee. You inspired her to start making her own videos. So thank you for all the work you do. She would kill me if she sees this, but I think you would like her vids. I'll check it out. Cindy Yates. That name sounds familiar. Is she in the comments a lot or something? Why does that name sound so familiar? Is she on my is she a Facebook friend? I feel like I see that name a lot. Is it Cindy with an I? CYNDI. That's why it stuck out. No, not a Facebook friend. I don't know why that sounds so familiar. But I wish her luck. And just tell her, hey, look, just put in the reps. If you're going to do the videos, if you're going to start making content, keep making it. Keep making it, keep making it, keep making it, keep making it. I made content for a long time before any of you guys watched. You got to get better. Got to get better. And thank you. That's a very generous donation. Thank you. Baron, I also believe there's a child moving network through the education system in California. It makes me think that Erika's connection to Riverside's evangelical Greg Laurie is making me think that more. That just sickens me. I hope we're reading that all wrong. The whole Riverside connection and all that. That would be dark. If we find out there's a human trafficking component, I mean, that would be so dark. Then just burn it all to the ground. Burn it all to the ground. Vote no to burning the sweater. Thank you. Your opinion is she's a Jezebel. Well, those are harsh words. Those are very harsh words, young lady. I finally figured out why my heart is so drawn to you. You remind me so much of how I remember my dad when I was younger before he left me. You make my heart happy. Thank you, Baron. Your dad sounds amazing. Thank you, Melissa. SDA Melissa 1. Thank you so much. Look, I hate when people, I don't hate it. I like that you guys feel comfortable enough to share your losses, but it breaks my heart. Like, it genuinely breaks my heart. As a mom of a young man with high functioning autism, savant sind, I believe Charlie Kirk was on the spectrum. I do too. It's a spectrum. We're all on the spectrum. Like, some people are 99, like barely on the spectrum. And some people are 1. They're like super autistic. And then, you get some people in the middle. I think Charlie was not a 99. I think he was more towards the middle. I believe Charlie was likely aware of the evil around him, yet unable to read the room of so-called friends. Just my opinion. Keep truth, my friend. Keep truth in my friend. Jesus loves you. Jesus does love you. Jesus does love you. I agree with you. Thank you. Very kind donation. Jesus wins. Thank you. Hi, Baron. Thank you for your show. What is your take on Wolves and Finance show today, where he thinks Trump edited the letter to Erika? God bless you. I gave that a bit ago. I don't think that's Trump's handwriting, but maybe. I wouldn't have. I mean, it's a big speculation, big piece of speculation there. So, but that doesn't mean I don't like the rest of the video. It doesn't mean I don't appreciate his hard work. It doesn't mean I don't appreciate him stepping out on the ledge and going with his gut. If he thinks it and he says it, that's fine. That's fine. The GATE program leads to bigger opportunities like study abroad. John with North High and Riverside, the GATE students would apply to the IB program in high school. Oh, is there a part 2? Thank you. Oops, Gary did it again. I like that. Oops, Gary did it again. Hee. By the way, my 6-year-old daughter, Sophia, loves you, but gets a little jelly at times. Not barren again, mommy. Yes, barren again. Oh, she noticed that you were wearing the same hoodie on Candace. This is not the hoodie I wore on Candace. I wore a, what do they call it? Drab green or something? Drab olive green, whatever that color is. That I wore a greenish, olivish color. But hey, don't tell her that. Tell her, yes, good girl. Good girl. Last night I attended Catholic Mass for the first time. Wow, there was a lot I didn't understand, but something felt very sacred about the whole experience, reading Rome Sweet Home as we speak. Hey, Rome Sweet Home will give you such a good understanding of the Catholic Mass. This is why I recommend it for everybody. Even if you're not Catholic and don't intend to become Catholic and never become Catholic, it can't possibly hurt you to understand the Mass and what it represents. It's the wedding feast of the Lamb. The wedding ceremonies everyone does, it's based on the Catholic Mass. Everybody stands up. The bride walks down the aisle. In the Mass, everybody stands up. The representative of the bride of Christ walks down the aisle, the priest. He gets up there. Everybody sits down, right? So this is, at the end, what happens? We all stand up and the bride leaves. At the end of the Mass, we all stand up and the priest leaves. The representative of the bride. Who is the bride going to meet? She's going to meet her groom. Who is the priest going to meet? The groom, Christ, at the altar. So, I mean, even if you don't appreciate Catholicism, even if you don't intend to become Catholic or never become Catholic, it will not hurt you to understand all the scriptural relevance to the Mass. And that's all he does that's all he does. He tells a biographical story along the way, but during the biological story, he weaves in the different scriptural components of the Mass. He also talks about the intense psychological battle he fought as a Presbyterian minister becoming Catholic. So that's what the whole book's about. He was a Presbyterian preacher who became Catholic and had to leave his post as a Presbyterian preacher. That's the whole book. Spoiler alert. Sorry if you haven't read it. It's great, though. Oh, this is part 2. International baccalaureate program that led to foreign exchange students in our school who would live with a sponsor family while in Riverside for a trimester. Kids from all over the world. Oh, that was part 3 of 3. I must have missed part 1. Yeah, we had foreign exchange students. I need a bearskin hoodie. Excuse me, ma'am or sir. They have hand and head wear. Bearskin? What is a bear? Is it actual bearskin? Bearskin hoodie. Or is that a brand? Oh, it's a brand. Bearskin. Oh, BAER. Bearskin hoodie. It looks like a cool hoodie. Tactical hoodie. Do I need a tactical hoodie? I mean, I'm sitting in my office alone. I mean, if it gets tactical, I'm in trouble. Really? Are they on sale for $35 at the official Adidas website? Well, you know what I'm doing. You might be buying some hoodies. Let's see here. Hoodie. Oh, no. I'll have to do it. I don't want to do it on the show. That's it's a little much, right? But I don't want you guys buying up all the hoodies. I don't see any for $35. Gosh, they look great. Greatest hoodie ever made. Man, that was the national championship game this year was the first all Adidas national championship game. And seeing that logo all over I don't know why I have such an emotional attachment. I do know why. It's because Indiana's worn Adidas most of my life. Baron, love your humor. Thanks for the giggles. Can't stop wondering why Tyler Robinson's family is not fighting. Is he just pleading guilty? Why are Charlie Kirk's parents not looking for answers? If that was my son, I'd be all over it. I've asked that question about Charlie Kirk's parents many times to many different people. Apparently, that's just them. They don't get involved. Like they're out. At least not publicly. Maybe behind the scenes they're very involved. I don't know. As for Tyler Robinson's family, I don't know. I mean, if my son was charged with this and I was afraid he was going to get killed, if I started speaking out, I probably wouldn't speak out. And I think that might be part of it. 1 Peter 4:13. We're paying for Bible verses. I always feel sinful doing this. Getting paid to read a Bible verse. That seems like Jesus would turn my table over. Hit me with a whip. Now y'all make me find 1 Peter. Jeez Louise. Ah, there it was. Maybe it wasn't. Am I going to have to go to the, oh, no. Am I going to have to go to the table of contents? No. It's right here. It's after Hebrews, right? Somewhere in here. Hebrews, James. Oh, it's after James. Then 1 Peter. Yes. 1 Peter 4:13. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. We are about to read the Holy Bible. But rejoice to the extent that you share in the sufferings of Christ, so that when his glory is revealed, you may also rejoice exultantly. I would like to rejoice exultantly. Yeah, so the Catholics have this idea of redemptive suffering, and that verse is a pivotal part of it, where when someone's suffering, we don't view that necessarily as a terrible thing, because it's uniting your suffering in Christ. That's what he's just talking about right there. That strikes some people a little weirdly when they first hear it. But I think once they understand the concept, they get it. Wow, saying Charlie, maybe he had a priest over because he knew about Erika, blew my mind. If he had serious doubts about her evil eyes, then a priest is exactly who he'd call. Was it for her, not him? That's kind of my point. I think they were having deep marital problems. I think he felt like they were potentially unequally yoked. That's just, look, gut instinct. I go with my gut. It may be wrong. Do we know Erika Kirk's mom and dad were added to the board? What year? I don't know that. Look into this. I don't know that. I don't want to spread that rumor because I don't know that that's true. Baron, I'm your high IQ photography gal. Your show is looking great. Thank you for representing Jesus and his logic. Jesus Christ is king. Christ is king indeed. The picture I see is so small I can't tell. I do see wrinkles. Yes. I have to go back to blurry after this show, ladies and gentlemen. I do apologize. I'm gonna go back to the old camera, terrible lighting, blur all over the place. Yes. First time sending a super chat? Well, thank you, Cooking with D. Is that West Virginia? I look forward to your show all day. I joined the members only group as well. By far the best podcast on YouTube. Christ is King. Go Max. Christ is King indeed. Thank you for joining the members page. We're going to have some fun over there this week. That'll be a good time. Like I said, either Tuesday or Thursday, we'll have a member show. I think it'll be opposite whatever show I intend to do on the JFK thing. I don't want to force Roger into a weird position of drawing parallels between JFK and Charlie. So I'd like to have him on, go through that, and then draw the parallels if he's not down with it. Maybe he is. I don't know. I haven't talked about it. But I see a lot of parallels. But thank you. Thanks for joining the group. A great base of support in that group, and we have a lot of fun in the member shows. They are much more laid back. Yo, I thought my eyes were the problem, but your camera is phenomenal. Oh, thank you. For what they charge for cameras these days, they better be. I love your bean paste hoodie. I bought one for myself. Wow. Got 17 inches of snow here in Ohio? Did you see any trees explode? No. I don't think we're in the exploding tree zone. Thank the Lord. Glad you were able to be on today. Hold, please. Yeah, hold, please. What's the temperature? I don't what temperature do oh gosh, just trying to update. At what temperature do things explode? It's 15 here now. Golly, 15. That's cold. Holy mackerel. I started running water before I came on, doing the little drip, I just finished reading Chaos. Wow. Wow is indeed. I read that book. Where was I at the time? I know where I was living. So it had to be before 2020. And it blew my mind. I mean, it destroyed my mind. Chaos by Tom O'Neill, I think is his name. Wow is all I can say. Started the assault on truth, and that's a tough one to get through. Looking forward to your recommendations in the coming days, weeks. Well, stay tuned. It's coming. It's absolutely coming. I'll probably pin it to the top of the YouTube page, maybe, or maybe X. Maybe X. If you're not following me on X, go over there. We have fun over there as well. A little more laid back. Wow, that ice video was crazy. Glad you have power and you and your family are safe. We're getting buried here in upstate New York. Bean paste hoodie is great. I'm going to have to yield to this bean paste, right? You guys are forcing that issue. It is officially bean paste now. Thank you for all you do. Loved you on Candace, top tier. Well, thank you. That's very kind of you. I never know how things like that will be perceived because it's not really my, that's not really my environment. I like being in control. I got sound controls. I got computer controls. I got a desk. I've got, everything here. I like being in control. It's very different when someone else is in control. That's a different experience. Very different experience. I like to be the one in control. Baron, you're right. Something's off. In Spanish, we say when the river makes noise, it's carrying stones. Do you now? With Turning Point USA, that noise isn't random and the smoke's getting thick. That's a cool expression. When the river makes noise, it's carrying stones. I bet it sounds really cool in Spanish. What's Rio? I know that means river. I don't know what stones is. It's not corned beef pink, ladies and gentlemen. It's not corned beef pink, but thank you. It's a heat wave there. TPUSA should worry about cleaning up their act. Agreed. Just sent you an email. Just got a spam text from Tyler Bowyer asking for money. Says they fell short of their goal. Are you serious? I got to see that, Pam. Thank you for sending that. I have got to review that. That's just unacceptable. That is totally and wholly unacceptable. Wow, I think ditto heads naturally are drawn. Build it, and they will come. Guys, I'm telling you, the Rush Limbaugh comparison, that I get weirded out by that a little bit. He's the GOAT. He's the greatest broadcaster who ever lived, in my opinion. Period. End of story. Not just because he had great content. It was the style, the delivery, the comfort behind the microphone. He's just a master of working a microphone. And I'd love to live up to that one day. There's a plane crash in Bangor, Maine. Private plane worth millions of dollars. Really? I hope that's not. No, he's in Florida right now. But I mean, that's probably some rich doctor. Private jet carrying 8 people crashes at airport. Visibility low around the time of the crash. Runway closed at Bangor International due to aircraft incident. Golly. Oh, the photos look bad. That had 8 people on it? That doesn't look like a very big aircraft. Maybe. Oh, it's a Challenger. Okay. It's a 650. Yeah, that is a big aircraft. I bet we could go to Flight Radar and figure out something. Let's do this real quick. Let's do a little detour, shall we? Let's go to here. Let's look up the Bangor, Maine International Airport here. And let's see who was scheduled to arrive an hour ago. Oh, they're all canceled. I guess, yeah, they closed it. So who was scheduled to land that didn't make it? What'd they say it was, a 650? None of those are 650s. I bet they've taken it down. Gosh, that's sad. Yeah, I bet they took it down. They don't want people like me looking it up. That's weird. Actually, you know what? Let's go back to the canceled ones. There we go. No, I don't see anything. If someone has the ADSB open and can pull that, I'll be interested in seeing it. Jennifer. Hey, Baron, love your show. I was wondering if you think that Andrew Colvett, could be making the PR mistakes on purpose. Maybe he's having to play along with the narrative, all while trying to expose the truth. I don't think so. I think he's just making errors. I still pray for him. I genuinely, a guy like Andrew, he's got so much potential. I just can't imagine. I wonder if he's tortured, like he's just stuck, or if he's just evil. Like I'm trying to find a third option. I don't think he's like purposefully sabotaging their operation, but I don't know. It bothers me. I get so bothered when I talk about him. I don't know why. When you pray for someone, you get this not attachment, like in a weird way, but you get this emotional sort of investment. And I've been praying for him a lot. I get this emotional investment in Andrew. Those asking about the spelling of God, in-laws are Jewish. They write it this way because they believe it is blasphemous to spell it out. It's an act of reverence per the law. I believe that. I'm just saying I don't understand why it's an act of reverence, because that's not his official name. Again, the name uttered to Moses was the reverent, full, official, allegedly complete name of God. And that was, I understand why someone would say, well, it's God. We're not going to say his name. So let's put dashes in there. Let's not add vowels. Let's not say it out loud. You'll say half, I'll say half. So that nobody, but I mean, God is just a generic term that when we capitalize, we're referencing by capital, we reference the Almighty. And so it's not, I just think I don't understand it. I mean, I understand the logic that you just said. I get that, but I don't think it makes sense to me that way. Is it possible they wanted Gary to release that letter to convey that Turning Point is close to the admin and has nothing to fear? By the way, Burning Point, spoken with your growl voice, equals hysterical. I didn't know I had a growl voice. Never use that again. I'm done with the growl voice. Will not happen again, ladies and gentlemen. I promise. Burning Point. I didn't know I growled. Feel terrible. Always nice watching your show, and equally as nice hearing Mises Institute and Lou Rockwell mentioned by a man I respect deeply. Still have to check out Rothbard, though. Yeah, I do need to check out Rothbard. I had a friend who was huge into big into Rothbard. I watched the Wolves and Finance video, and then I watched Viva and Barnes, and I told them they needed to respond. Barnes said he didn't need to, and I responded again and said he did, and it looked weak, and I got 10 thumbs up. They know. So I don't want to comment on that. I'm not getting involved in that. That's theirs. Snow day here tomorrow in Toronto, Canada. Your laugh is infectious. Oh, no. I like the A. That made me laugh. I think an aqua color hoodie would look great. I think Charlie was figuring out that Erika was a fraud. Well, if you were a member, you would have seen an aqua color hoodie. Not an Adidas hoodie. It's a McLaren hoodie. I got it. One of my daughter bought it for me many years ago. Probably, 10 years ago or so now. I'm a big fan of Fernando Alonso. He used to race for McLaren. My now 19-year-old, when she was like 9 or 10, bought it for me for Christmas. So I have a McLaren Alonso hoodie that is pretty aqua. Pretty aqua. I did order a new hoodie that's a shade of blue, and maybe that'll satisfy your desires there. Beetle. The Treasury Department letter addressed to Mrs. Charles Kirk at TPUSA isn't to an Indianapolis address, but when you Google the address, it comes up as a law firm. Why would they hire a firm in Indy when they're based in Arizona? They're actually headquartered technically for legal purposes in Indiana for some reason. They've been there forever. Actually, for the first few years, 3 or 4 years, they were out of Illinois, but they've been out of Indianapolis for a long time. For a short period of time, they were at a little town called Crown Point, Indiana, which is kind of up in the Chicagoland area on the Indiana side. But the Indianapolis is, for whatever reason, if you go look at their 990s, it has an Indianapolis address. That's the official registered agent address. I think that's why it's a law firm. Oh, very kind of you. Just plain fed up. Very kind. I'm not even going to read that one out loud because it would be vain, but I'm going to leave it up a second. I kid. 33 is how many stitches Vance said Jonathan Ross got from his dragging incident pre-Renee Good. Well, maybe he got 33 stitches. Or maybe he's an evil Freemason. We don't know. I kid. When will we see the picture in your safe? You hinted about it about a month ago. Happy retirement of sorts. We're happy to have you full time. I've gotten a few opinions on that picture. It's coming. I don't know when. Someone's cooking something. It smells great. I feel like a cartoon character, you know? Well, floating away towards the scent of a pie in a windowsill. All of a sudden, I got a whiff, and that's all I can think about. I don't know what they're making in there. But that's amazing. I'm about to get off, guys. It's been 3 hours. No, let me finish these, and I'll get out of there. Gonna have to move quickly here towards the end, guys. I promise you, I read these. I do read these, even if I have to scroll past them and not show them on screen. I do read them privately. Hey, Baron, no, I'm not that Joe. Your opening statements are epic, always well-researched and informative. I do hope you compile them into a book someday. You're an excellent writer. God bless. Well, thank you. That's very kind praise. Very, very kind praise. So get this. Both Rob McCoy's brother, sister-in-law, military pilots who flew the Metajets flight died 10 days after Charlie in a plane crash. I think that's I don't think that's his brother. I've looked into that. I don't think that's his brother who died. This is funny. Erika Kirk must have requested a speedy IRS response. That made me laugh. You got me. Speedy trial request, not sus. Speedy IRS response, sus. Turnaround time, definitely one for the record books. I agree, but if they're all in New York together, it makes a lot of sense. You, Candace, Coach, Ian, and Wolves and Finance bring courage back to the truth. Time to fly. Let's roll. Go Max. Christ is king. Man, you guys awfully kind. Baron, I'm wearing that hoodie today. You're wearing a bean paste hoodie? A raw hamburger meat hoodie? A corned beef pink hoodie? And did you see that our music media made a song for you today? Was that today? Because if so, then I did not see that. Now, let me see. I don't want to play something that's copyrighted. Oh gosh, if that apologize. There we go. Our music media. No, I hadn't seen this one. I'll give you just a hint. I can't play the whole thing, but because we're way over time already. I'll give you a hint of it here. All right, let's see how it starts.
And Baron fully loses his cool and just goes on about Joe and what just makes for exceptional YouTube content. Let's just watch Baron Colden crash out on Joe. It's fantastic.
Don't be a Joe. I don't understand this mentality. Leave Joe, go home. Here's the problem with people like you, Joe. He was at the base, Joe. You have everything wrong with this.
All right, that's enough. That's enough. I will watch it. I'm leaving it pulled up. We will get to it after the program. I don't like to watch myself like that. A little weird. New York Times Book Deal Summit is where Scott Bessent spoke on December 3rd in New York. Good to know. Can we at least call it rare prime rib instead of hamburger meat? Yes, we can. That's probably the best. Rare prime rib. When I order prime rib and they're like, how do you want it? I'm like, I just want you to shine a flashlight on it. I want the rarest piece of prime rib you have. Like, I don't go messing with the prime rib. I don't want it brown. I want it like red. Much redder than this. But that rare prime rib, that would be good. I like it. Not only because it's delicious. Eric Kirk spoke at the 2025 Deal Book Summit on December 3rd in conversation with Andrew Ross Sorkin. She criticized career-focused women. Did she really? That's weird. That Deal Book Summit, that's the same place Scott Bessent was, right? Isn't that the previous comment? Just say that. I've been clean and sober for 6 years. Been a struggle, not staying clean. I did meth from 16 to 44. Holy mackerel. You better get down on your knees every night and thank the Lord above that you're still among the living. That is incredible. So what I learned about meth, I've never done meth, but what I've learned about meth from people who have worked in the industry, not the meth industry, the clean industry, the sober. Oh, excuse me. I screwed this story up from the beginning. I scandalized myself, and then I made you think I was hanging out with drug dealers. That's not what I mean. From people who work in the industry of helping to soberize meth users, apparently meth spikes your dopamine levels so high that it basically breaks your brain for a couple years. It takes like 2 or 3 years for the brain to even get back normal. The fact that you've survived and managed to stay clean that long, what a testament to you. Oh my goodness. I'm glad you quit, honestly. Thanks for joining us, and thanks for telling me that. I got to move quickly. We're at 3 hours and 7 minutes and counting. Did you see Chase Hughes was on with Gary on PT? This after the horrible video panel did on Erika. No, I didn't see that. I do like Chase Hughes. And I don't hate Gary. I just didn't like his coverage of a few parts of the Charlie Kirk stuff. But I'm thankful for his hard investigative journalism that's broken several stories. Confirmed Mitch Snow at Fort Huachuca, for example. I got to find this interview. You guys keep referencing this. I've got it pulled up to look for it. I'm going to find it. You're not going to get it past me if he said it. I'm going to play it. Wow, that blurring of your background makes the video pop. What cameras do you use? I'm a YouTuber. Love your openings. Well, thank you, John. This is a Sony Alpha ZVE10 Mark II with a Sigma lens with a 2.4 f-stop, 50 millimeter. And I don't know. It's you could probably get the exact same image cheaper. I don't know. But yeah, thank you. Thank you for the compliment on the picture. Yeah, I've been trying to make it right. I knew once I had time to mess with the settings and I could finally dedicate some time to listen to all that Trigger Smart had been telling me to do with the video, I would get it right. My wife and I enjoy your show. Keep up the good work. Go Hoosiers, originally from Kokomo. My uncle lived in Kokomo, Uncle Larry. He now lives in Scottsdale. I had to send him by TPUSA. Larry, I got a job for you. I need you to go look in the TPUSA windows. No, don't look in the windows, Larry. That's weird. I don't think he would do it anyway. Plane crash in. Thank you, by the way, for the very generous donation. Blue Cookie Man. Whatever that means. Private jet crash in Maine registered to an LLC in Houston. Well, what's the LLC? You just took all the fun out of it. I thought we were about to get but I thought we were getting the big reveal. It didn't happen. That's all right, though. That's all right. Who the hell is Gary, and how did I send $5 without asking that? LOQ here. Low IQ. No. We're high IQ here, Dorothy. Quit watching Tatum when he's dissed. Enjoy the second $5. Gary is Gary from Paramount Tactical. He's a podcaster, hosts a show. You're not missing much. You're not the only one who doesn't know who he is. It's a low blow. I'm sorry. Gary, forgive me. That was beneath me. I apologize. Not sure how these work. So my first ran out of time. I really want your take on this one. Have you heard about how Israel used exploding pagers to kill people? Well, of course I heard about that. It was a massive international story that lasted weeks. Yeah. 2 different rounds. Some for the pagers that had a AA batteries and some that had the lithium batteries. Yeah, I've heard about it, read about it. Officer Tatum is no replacement for Larry Elder. Salem Radio is just short for Jerusalem Radio. Great show, Baron. Glad you're safe. I agree with all points. I'm glad I'm safe too. I agree with that point as well. Best podcast. Thank you. Eminkiz. You're started blacklisted by history. It's good from page 11. The writing style is reminiscent of your opening statements. Oh, very interesting so far. Maybe that's why I liked it so much. I had nothing to do with it. Nothing at all to do with it. I did like it. Why Catholicism and not Orthodoxy? That's a long answer, and I just don't have time to give it right now. But in short, I believe in the primacy of Peter in the papacy. I called it in the up and down church, LOL. Oh, you're talking about the Catholic Church? Thinking about talking to a priest about coming to the Catholic Church, I can no longer trust the Protestant church. Almost any priest will talk to you, I'm sure. So make an appointment and go in and have a chat. And congratulations. I think you'll find the waters warm. Is anyone concerned about the bodyguard who Charlie sent home early the night before? He's missing? Did he send one home early the night before? What? I didn't heard that. Baron, I don't own a Bible yet, so I've been listening to Hello, Father Mike Schmidt's Bible in a Year. Find it addictive. Thanks to you and Candace. Need a cup. This is Hope, please. Is that true on opposite side? Is that true? Is that true? That's funny. So I am going to get a cup. This is Hope, please. A mug. That'll be in there. But again, not yet. We got a couple more weeks, 2-3 more weeks, and then we'll work on the merch side of it. But I have been letting my mind roll around and think about stuff like that. Father Mike Schmidt's amazing. My wife loves Father Mike Schmidt's. Listens to his podcast, listens to the Bible in a Year, listens to the Catechism in a Year. Loves Father Mike Schmidt's. He's actually from Brainerd, Minnesota. I have cousins up there. What do you think about an actual book club for your members? A lot of chatters have mentioned it tonight, and we could ask you some questions in the member live. Maybe Sis could help get it going. I've thought about that, but how do I distinguish between the book club and just the regular member? I guess just have another one called the book club that the members can join if they want. Maybe. I'm not opposed to it. Call this hoodie Nantucket Red. I've been to Nantucket a couple times. There's a great restaurant there called the Brotherhood of Thieves. Nantucket. Brotherhood of Thieves. Love that restaurant. Great restaurant. I'm a hairdresser. And if I lived in your neighborhood, I would give you free haircuts because we would have great conversations. Here's a donation for a professional. Thank you. I do appreciate that. I would take you up on that because I hate paying for haircuts. I don't know why. Like, there's some things I just hate paying for. And I know they do a good job and they earn their keep and they're well trained and like I get it. And I know people hate paying for lawyers a lot. So I understand from an industry people hate paying. I get it. But I always feel better when I get one. Should I get one this week? I need one this week. I'm getting shaggy. Look like a daggum hippie. Love your show always and love that color. It's my part of Canada. We had minus 39.7. But we had mittens on. I don't think the mittens are going to cut it, pal. Stay warm. Go Max Christ is King. Yes. Thank you. Out here truly doing the Lord's work. Amazing detective work. Keep fighting the good fight. And God bless you always. God bless you as well. Guys, I appreciate you joining me. I do have to run. We're at 3 hours and 15 minutes. Thank you. Like the video. I've not done my check-in to see how many people like the video so far today. It better be a lot of you. Don't fall down on the job. Okay, yeah, we're good. But don't forget, like the video. It's a number one easy free way you can support the program because that pushes the video out in the YouTube algorithm, pops it up higher in other people's feeds. That gives us better exposure. Subscribe always if you haven't subscribed and you're watching this. And about a third to a half of the people on that watch every video aren't subscribers. Hit the button. It's nothing. That also helps push it up the YouTube algorithm. It doesn't cost you a dime, and it's very supportive of the program. Click the notifications. You'll know when I'm going live or post a new video. If you haven't joined the members chat, join it. We do have a lot of fun over there. It's much more casual. Usually not in an Adidas hoodie, t-shirt, or another brand of hoodie. But we have a lot of fun. We have a lot of fun over there. So you can join the members. You can hit like, subscribe, click notifications, share with your friends and family, anyone who you think might like the program. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, don't you ever forget, I'll be back tomorrow night. In the meantime, Jesus loves you.